This game and the stream broadcast rights to this game are the sole and exclusive property of the WPIAL. Any broadcast of this game is intended exclusively for the benefit of the North Catholic Sports Network audience. Any use, rebroadcast, or distribution of this broadcast without the express written consent of the WPIAL is prohibited.
Trib Live High School Sports Network is the official video and audio streaming partner of the WPIAL. We broadcast over 2,000 sporting events each year and cover 17 sports in over 170 schools. At HSSN, you'll find the latest in high school sports news, live and archive broadcasts, scores, standings, and much more. Trib Live High School Sports Network, your high school sports leader. All season, every season.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the WPIAL Class 3A football semifinals. We are coming to you from Burke Stadium on the campus of Fox Chapel High School. Your North Catholic Trojans meet the Avonworth Antelopes right here on the North Catholic Sports Network and the Trib Live High School Sports Network. Hello, everyone. I'm Sean Malone alongside Darren Lyles. The Trojans enter this evening's game after an exciting 48-41 win over Keystone Oaks last week. It was a game that the Trojans never trailed in, but it was definitely a back-and-forth affair. The second half started out with some fast-paced scoring from both teams, but it was the Trojans scoring late and a Keystone Oaks fumble on the ensuing kickoff that secured the win. As for the Antelopes, they took care of business early in their game, winning easily over Mount Pleasant by a score of 49-7. Ian Sam rushed for 244 yards on just 9 carries and scored on runs of 21, 10, 73, 76, and 18 yards, all in the first half, to put that game out of reach. He didn't get any carries in the second half, so he had 244 yards in just the first half. With the way that each of the quarterfinal games went last week for these teams, Darren, on paper, you certainly think Avonworth has a little bit of momentum. But what are you looking for in this game?
You know, if you really break it down, Avonworth's schedule, you see a little bit of a lull in the middle of the season with a loss to Stowe Rocks, a close win against Southside Beaver, and then they seem to pick it right back up. The only other hiccup on their schedule besides that was Central Valley, which we know is kind of the front runner in the Wpil this year. So I really think they might be peaking at the right time, and it's kind of interesting. You know, I had a situation I couldn't come to the last game, and I was checking some updates on my phone, and first I see a 21-7, like, okay, you know, North Catholic's going to pull away from this one. And then I check a little bit later, and I see a 49-41 final. I'm asking, what the heck happened? That's more points in one game than the entire season. Was there fumbles, interceptions? What happens there? So I'm kind of interested to see if the defense can make a comeback and be more of what we saw in the regular season, because, I mean, they need that today against the running back.
The defense was not that great last week for North Catholic. We can talk a little bit about why, but I think we're going to go down the field right now, where we're going to have the national anthem. And then after that, Darren and I will continue to provide a look ahead at what we think is going to happen in this game.
stand and gentlemen, remove your hats as we honor our country with the playing of our national anthem.
They weren't. These are luxury seats up here. It's really
All right, and after the national anthem, this is Sean Malone again with Darren Lyles, bringing you this Wpil semifinal between Avonworth and North Catholic. This is North Catholic's 8th semifinal appearance over the last 10 years, and it's the 2nd semifinal appearance for Avonworth in the last 3 years. They won 2A in the Wpil in 2019 and went all the way to the state championship game. Speaking of the state playoff, this is also the PIAA 3A first round game. The winner will move into the Wpil Championships, which is technically also the PIAA quarterfinal, and that championship will be next week, November 27th at Heinz Field, a noon kickoff. So pretty cool that one of these teams tonight is going to be able to play at Heinz Field. I'm interested, Darren, at the beginning we said that Avonworth won 49-7. North Catholic won their tightest game of the season, 48-41. Would you rather be the team riding high off of a blowout win, or a team that won a scare in the previous round? Do you think there's an advantage either way?
Usually I would say you want to be the team that blows someone out. It's kind of a mental boost. You're blowing out your opponent, but maybe in North Catholic's case that might be a best case scenario. We've often talked about this team's ability to win close games. Many of their games, the average score is 49-4, something in that ballpark. So maybe for North Catholic, actually, being pushed to the limit a little bit might do them some good. But one thing you have to say about Avonworth, it really, bodes to them and it impresses, of their play that the seeding committee would choose them as the 3 seed over an Elizabeth Ford, who was a conference champion.
And Elizabeth Ford undefeated in their conference as well, I believe, to be conference champion. On paper, there's some interesting scores between common opponents. North Catholic and Avonworth have both beaten Freeport by multiple touchdowns, but the one that really stands out was last week for North Catholic. They beat Keystone Oaks by 7 in a shootout, whereas Avonworth destroyed Keystone Oaks 35-0. And I think that Keystone Oaks' excellent quarterback from last week may have been hurt early in that game against Avonworth, which would certainly change the whole complexion of the game, as he was the reason that Keystone Oaks made it close last week against North Catholic.
Talking to the guys in the team, it really appeared that they had no anticipation of them throwing the ball. They said they're a running team. They expect them to run the ball, and I think totally threw their game plan on their head.
And here's a kick. It's pretty short. And Jason Sickett, backup quarterback, gets it at around the 30-yard line. And that's where he'll fall. And the flag comes in. We'll see what that is. Avonworth may be a little scared of kicking it deep, as North Catholic had two kickoff returns for touchdowns last week. And they were both at really crucial times, as they each came after a Keystone Oaks score. So North Catholic easily could have lost that game.
Yeah, there's a lot of athletes back there, and you have 2-3 guys that could easily take one the distance. So you might be surprised if you see any balls that actually all kick deep tonight.
Yeah, Jack Fennell and Kyle Topinski had those kickoff returns for touchdowns last week for the Trojans, and North Catholic that penalty was on the Trojans. So the referee is going to march the ball back 10 yards and start it at the 20. North Catholic, of course, in their red and gold uniforms. Avonworth in mostly white with red numbers. And the first play, 4 wide receivers for North Catholic. Joey Prentice, as always, in the shotgun. Sophomore running back Jack Fennell to his right. And the first snap is going to be a fake, and Prentice overthrows Topinski just a little bit. If Ezra Tomko had been maybe looking at the ball a little bit more rather than trying to hit Kyle Topinski, he might have had an interception there. I thought Fennell had the ball for a second there. Prentice faked me out.
North Catholic has definitely gone with that, inside handoff, kind of testing out, feeling the waters, what their defense looks like. I like seeing the shot down there, but great coverage downfield, staying with your assignment by Avonworth.
I don't know how often North Catholic is going to run up the middle with Kevin Feltner, number 74 for Avonworth. He's going to take up a lot of room. Tyler Maziarz gets the ball, and then a great tackle on the outside by number 5 for Avonworth, and that is Andrew Cuban.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about the Avonworth defensive line coming into this game. That really seems to be a strength of theirs. So it'll be interesting to see how North Catholic kind of deals with what might be a perceived advantage in the trenches today.
Then North Catholic has not tried to run it on their first 2 plays, and that leaves them with a 3rd and 10 from their own 20-yard line with about 11 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Prentice gets the snap. He's looking to throw. He's got some time. He's going to scramble to his left now. He's looking, fires it to Fennell. Fennell tiptoeing, and he's going to get a first down. Jack Fennell at about the 36 or the 37-yard line.
What great awareness by Fennell to break off his route, see his quarterback in distress, and not only that, but after the catch, awareness to make sure he stays in bounds to get the first down instead of letting his momentum take him out of bounds. Great body control there by Fennell.
Prentice last week was 18 for 24 for 254 yards and 4 touchdowns. And that was probably his best passing performance of the season. And the ball is on the ground, and Avonworth dives on it.
If you've been following North Catholic football, that's the one thing that just can't happen. The fumbles on the offensive side of the ball. The defensive side has been so dominant outside of, the game last week that if the offense just, doesn't put them in bad positions, they'll be in good shape.
And that was after just a really good conversion on 3rd down. It's a shame to see that drive blow up in North Catholic's face. Number 52, Eric Studebaker, dives on the ball for Avonworth, and immediately they're in position to get some points. 32-yard line. Let's see what the Lopes try to do. Their quarterback is Nate Harper, and Ian Sam gets the carry. He's got a big hole up the middle, and that's going to be a first down. And he may have lost the ball. And even if he did, Avonworth falls on it, and they're going to get a first down out of that all the way down to the 22-yard line.
The one thing about high school football, if you have a good defensive line, you probably have a decent offensive line. A lot of those guys play both ways. Let's see if, North Catholic's defensive line, how they do really being challenged for the first time this season.
And Harper is going to look to the sideline for the play. It looks like Avonworth has 2 tight ends in addition to the offensive line, so they're preparing to run the ball perhaps, and it is a handoff to Neo Miller, number 1, and Tyler Maziar's great pursuit holds him to about a 2-yard gain.
Great team defense there. You see number 21, Mitch Lanthal, really stretching that play out, not really allowing that corner to be taken, keep moving it to the sideline, letting his teammates come over and finish off the play there.
This sets up a 2nd and 8, just inside of 10 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Harper in the shotgun. Avonworth still a pretty heavy package in. Got 2 tight ends probably to the left there. And this time it's going to be Sam getting the ball just straight up the gut again. He's getting a lot of room up the middle, but there is a flag, and we'll see what that's going to be.
Sean, really nice today that we actually have the referee's microphone. A lot of times, we're kind of guessing, trying to figure out the hand signals again to see what the call is. Now we can, have that nice verbalization to see what the penalty is on the field.
And that time it looked like it was holding on the center, which is maybe why there was such a big hole in the middle. Sam has had a lot of room to run in the middle of the field on both his carries, but it is 2nd and 19 now. This is something we've seen the Trojans do all season. They call a play, they see how the defense is set up, and then they look over to the sidelines to get a a new play, which this time is a handoff up the middle, but much less room this time for the Avonworth running back. This time giving Sam a spell. It was number 6 for Avonworth. That is Brandon Biagirelli. Biagirelli remains in the backfield as Harper is in the shotgun, and this time he has 4 wide receivers. This is pretty obvious passing down. So here we'll see what was last week's North Catholic's Achilles heel, the pass defense. The pass rush did not get home for the first time all season for the Trojans, and Keystone Oaks was able to pick them apart. Let's see what happens here. It's going to be a screen pass, and Neo Miller has it. He's got a little bit of room to run, and he gets all the way down inside the 15-yard line. We're going to figure out how much confidence Avonworth has in their kicker here, because it is going to be a 4th and 2 or 3 yards. If you've got a great kicker, this is 3 easy points. If not, this is definitely a situation we're going to go for it on 4th down.
You know, Sean, before that play, I just almost felt a screen was coming. It seemed like just the most logical play, especially in the high school game. Screens are a lot more effective. You know, players are trying to make plays. So, you know, a big chunk of yardage makes it into a 4th and very manageable for Avonworth.
And Avonworth, it looks like, is going with a wildcat here. Brandon Biagirelli is back at quarterback. And it's a bad snap. He gets it. Topinski chases him from behind, and he's going to be short of the 1st down marker. Great play from Kyle Topinski.
That's just an athlete being an athlete. You see him kind of zoom in one of the back gaps and still able to close and make that tackle. And, you know, I actually ran into Kyle a little bit before wrestling practice, and he was joking, like, I never want to wrestle you, Mr. Lyles. And I'm like, Kyle, I never want to tackle you one-on-one either. So I think we're at even Stevens right there. So great athletic play by Kyle Topinski there.
Yeah, there's a lot of great football players in tonight's game on both sides. Kyle Topinski, you probably know this better than me, has had Division I offers from multiple schools. So he may be the Trojans' best athlete out there, senior Kyle Topinski. Senior Joey Prentice, though, has also done amazingly this year, and he's going to go deep down the field. It is overthrown outside of the reach of everybody. He was testing on defense that time for Avonworth. Number 24, Ian Sam, who's also the running back for the Lopes, and he was throwing that to Tyler Maziarz.
Just great positional defense by Ian Sam. Even though the pass was overthrown, you could see Sam put himself between Kyle Maziarz and the ball. So just all around good defensive play, even though the pass was a little overthrown.
On this drive, Topinski is in the backfield, and Fennell, who was the running back on the last play, is in the slot. Kyle gets the handoff, and he bursts through a little bit on the left-hand side for a gain of about 2. Going to set up a 3rd and 8.
Yeah, a little low snap right there. Once again, it's so integral for North Catholic to make sure they're not just shooting themselves in the foot with mental mistakes. If their offense just plays clean, I think eventually it will kind of get a rhythm. And with their defense, I really think the defense is going to bounce back big this game. So, I mean, Avonworth has some great athletes, and they're going to put that to the test. But I think that's really kind of the most important thing is get your fundamentals.
And there's a snap to Prentice. Good rush from Avonworth. Prentice with a ball fake, and he's going to run for it. Can he get to the 1st down marker? It looks like he does as he gets over the 25-yard line. He needed the 24, and he got to about the 26. 1st down for Joey Prentice.
One smart play there. Good protection. You know, the protection's been up and down this year in a lot of the passing plays. Solid protection by the offensive line. Joey kind of seeing the field, seeing the gaps, and making a smart quarterback move there and taking what he could and moving the chains here.
It looks like he took a pretty heavy tackle at the end. He's shaking his hand, and it looked like he was limping a little bit. He's been dealing with an ankle problem all season, and it's very cold tonight. This is definitely our coldest game of the year, so anytime your hand gets hit, it's going to hurt. Quick throw to Carson Laconi. Laconi trying to get to the outside, and another good tackle by, I believe, Andrew Cuban again, number 5 for Avonworth. He's made some good one-on-one tackles on the outside.
Yeah, they're breaking down, getting off their blocks. And the funny thing is, a couple kids in the team thought that, you know, Avonworth really hasn't seen their screen game. I think they did a 7-on-7 over the summer, and they really felt that screen game could, you know, be a big factor for the offense. But Avonworth's been really shutting it down today.
4 wide receivers for the Trojans. Fennell in the backfield this time. 2nd and 9. Prentice will look to the sideline to get the play. And it's completed to Topinski over the middle, and he gets out to the 42-yard line. That looked like a run-pass option there, Darren. Prentice saw that Topinski was going to be uncovered over the middle and pulled the ball back quick from Fennell and fired a dart to Topinski.
Yeah, that's a great little play there. A little pop pass. You take to the 6'3" guy. Great utilization of the passing game today. We haven't really seen North Catholic really air it out a lot this year. And I'm kind of curious to see how their approach might affect the Avonworth defense. Maybe it backs some people off. Maybe they have to go to a too-high shell, back people out of the box. And maybe that might actually, pass to set up the run. And don't forget that North Catholic does have the misdirection offense with, QB keep. So I'm kind of curious to see how that will be incorporated maybe
Here's
later.
An option play, a pitch to Fennell. Fennell's got great speed. He gets a little bit to the outside, and he's met just across the 45-yard line by several Avonworth players. And the first of those players was, I think, number 1, Neo Miller.
Great tackle there by Neo Miller. So much in today's game, you see people, even high school kids, try to deliver those big hits. But, just wrapping up the ball carrier is so underutilized, but so effective. If you're in the open field, you need to wrap that guy up, move your feet, don't let him get an extra yarder. So great play there by Miller. Just good fundamentals, wrapping up the play.
5.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. A scoreless game, which, if you listened to us last week, was definitely not the case. Both offenses are marching up and down the field, but we did expect a lower scoring game here. Another run-pass option and a completion to Laconi. Laconi, he just gets tripped up at about the 35-yard line. If you haven't paid attention to North Catholic football all year, Carson Laconi got hurt in that scrimmage between North Catholic and Avonworth at the beginning of the season. He did not play a snap until last week against Keystone Oaks. He had 1 catch last week and made some, actually, he was their best defensive back last week, made some key pass breakups, and now he's got 2 catches, including that one for a first down.
Yeah, that's getting Carson Laconi's big for this offense. That just gives another weapon that teams have to consider while dealing with this team.
And Prentice there that time, maybe an ill-advised throw into triple coverage. And Liam Strupp still almost caught that ball. And then it hung in the air, and Avonworth almost could have intercepted that.
Sean, one thing you got to realize about a lot of high school offenses, these aren't professionals. These aren't even college guys. And a lot of these plays are 1 or 2 reads. So for the most part, you might have 1 read you're looking for. And if you think it's there, you're throwing. If not, you tuck and run. Maybe a second read. So you might not really have to go down your progression. So there might, in theory, be someone open, but maybe the quarterback isn't even considering that as an option because really they're only reading 1 or 2 guys.
Prentice, screen to Maziarz, and Avonworth again defends that screen pretty well, gets off some blocks, and Maziarz is going to get 4 or 5 yards to set up a 3rd and medium with 4.5 minutes to play in the first quarter.
At this position in the field with the North Catholic kicking game, this might be 4-down territory with how they do, especially with, I believe Coach O'Shea still has faith in his defense. So maybe they draw up a play just to get 4-ish, 3-ish, make it a real 4th and manageable. So I'm kind of curious to see what play call they go here with.
Carson Laconi jogs off the field for Daniel Long, maybe indicating some sort of running play, although Daniel Long last week was a real threat in the receiving game. 4, 5, maybe even 6 catches as he just constantly came out of the backfield. But North Catholic is going to talk it over on this key 3rd and 6 with 4:01 left.
Give me a field shot, please, for an overlay. Right there, sharp. Leave it there, please.
Whether you need a business headshot, family portrait, or you just want to remember that toothless grin of your 6-year-old, Dina Koenig Photography is at your service. Dina specializes in capturing the beauty of your family and creating customized wall art to decorate your home. Dina Koenig Photography is the official photographer of North Catholic Athletics. All right, Darren, put yourself in Coach O'Shea's shoes here. Whose number are you going to call on this key 3rd and 6 from the 31-yard line?
At the end of the day, Joey Prentice has proved he's a playmaker. So some way, shape, or form, I want the ball in his hand, whether it be an option, a pass. I'm not just handing it off here. I want to see my quarterback who, a mobile, dual-threat quarterback is one of the hardest things to defend in all of football. I want to put stress on defense. I want to see if I could get a one-on-one matchup somewhere with him as one of those options.
All right, so let's see if Joey Prentice, what he does to be key in this play. Or maybe he'll just hand it off to Kyle Topinski, who is back there, and he's really hard to tackle. It is going to be right to Topinski up the middle, and Topinski plowing forward really close to that line. From the near sideline, a ref is running in at about the 28, 29-yard line, which would make this 1 yard short. And almost certainly with a 4th and 1, North Catholic is going to go for it.
Yeah, definitely with that play call, it was like I spoke about, Sean. You're kind of in 4-down territory. If you don't need to get 5 yards or 6 yards right away, you could, draw up a play or run up the middle with one of your best athletes to see if you can make it into a 4th and manageable. So here comes the play here.
And that was 100% predictable if you've seen North Catholic a lot. Quarterback keeper Joey Prentice. North Catholic rarely lines up in under center.
Well,
and
Sean, this year we've talked about this. It was a new wrinkle they incorporated. They really, any other year, the sneak was coming, but we've seen them line up under center a lot with Kyle Topinski in the backfield, kind of that power set. So just lining up that way with multiple tight ends, Kyle Topinski, you now just can't assume. So that kind of opens up that possibility for the QB sneak because you have to think about Kyle Topinski getting the ball.
Yeah, it's a great point, Darren. Maybe they finally they set up all year that quarterback sneak on video, at least giving Avonworth something different to think
I
about.
thought I saw a jump there, but I guess they didn't infringe on the neutral zone.
And Prentice is going to keep the ball and just dart up the middle for 4 or 5 yards. Prentice, Kyle Topinski, we've talked about all year, is really hard to tackle, but so is Joey Prentice. He really fights for every yard that he can.
While he stands next to Kyle, sometimes he might not look as big, but Joey Prentice is a big young man as well. He probably goes about 6'3", somewhere in the ballpark of 195 to 210, give or take. So he's not a small person to tackle either.
Yeah, he's listed at 6'1", 200. And this time it's to Topinski. Topinski's breaking it to the outside, and he's going to fall forward to a first down, but there was a flag in an area that normally indicates that this is going to come back.
You hate to see that with what appears to be the North Catholic offense getting into that rhythm. A lot of times we see them hit a couple nice plays, then a fumble or a hold, and it just totally kind of rattles them for a second. So let's see. It was a 2nd and 5 instead of a 1st and 20. It's a 2nd and 15, which it's more manageable. So let's see how they respond. Once again, you're kind of in 4-down territory again, so you only need about 5 yards to play. So let's see how Coach O'Shea coaches this up here.
And here it is. Prentice is under center. This will probably not be a QB sneak, so let's see what Prentice does, if he hands it off or if this is going to be a play action. And it is a play action. Prentice throwing to the end zone, and it is almost caught by Tyler Maziarz. Again, triple coverage by Avonworth, but it still got all the way to Maziarz.
Joey Prentice put that ball exactly where it needed to be. That was an absolute dime by Joey Prentice off the play action. Yes, there was some coverage around, but you hate to see that play not end up with a touchdown with it hitting the receiver in the hands.
Yeah, and I forget which Avonworth defender was right on Tyler Maziarz, but they certainly made that a much more difficult pass to complete. And this is going to bring up a 3rd and 13 from the 26-yard line. North Catholic needs to get all the way down to the 13.
Oh, huge penalty there. Holding creates a first down, holding the defensive side. So not pass interference, but impeding the receiver before the ball is in the air. So huge.
I didn't even see that flag thrown, did you?
I heard flag on the play, and I saw the Avonworth coach look none too pleased. So I thought something was coming.
It says first down on the scoreboard, but 2nd down on the sticks, so we'll see what is there. Maybe it won't matter, but Prentice's pass is too long. He went for Fennell in the end zone, and that's going to bring up.
The holding call should make it an automatic first down if I understand correctly. I don't know if there's confusion on the sideline or if in high school rules it's different. It's just repeat the down with the yardage. But, I'm a little confused here, Sean, to be honest with you.
It's either 3rd and 3 or 2nd and 10. The ball is on the 16-yard line. That we know for sure. Joey Prentice lines up under center. North Catholic has got a 2 tight end formation, 2 wide receivers. Prentice hands it off to Topinski. He bursts up the middle to the 10-yard line for a first down.
I'm going to go with it was a 3rd and 3 because I didn't see him really trying to correct it, and I didn't see the North Catholic sideline going ballistic over it. So I guess in high school, if a holding call isn't an automatic first down. So we have that to note in the back of our minds if we ever see it again.
North Catholic has done a nice job of a balanced offensive attack here, runs and passes. You mentioned Avonworth and our kids have said this week at school, that this Avonworth D-line is the best that they've seen this year. So it's good as from a North Catholic perspective to see some success running the ball. As Topinski, he's got the out. No, he doesn't get the outside. That's a and he bounces off a tackler. He's still going, and it takes four antelopes to bring Kyle Topinski down. The person who didn't complete the tackle, it was either number 1 or number 11 for Avonworth, but they prevented a touchdown there because if Kyle Topinski gets to the edge with his size and speed, he's probably going to make it to the end zone.
You know, that play was almost a little funny. It almost looked like he eased up a little bit, then everyone eased up around him, then he just took off again. So, hard work by Kyle Topinski here, and I'm curious to see if he's carrying a little bit more of the load in this game, simply because, if there is a free arm or, maybe like a half tackle by one of these big defensive linemen, they have a little more faith of him to run through it.
Prentice is going to keep it himself, and he's brought down very quickly. A good play there by Eric Studebaker, who recovered the fumble earlier in the game for Avonworth. And this could be the last play if North Catholic doesn't want to run a play quickly here, as we are under 30 seconds in the first quarter.
If I'm Coach O'Shea, I'm waiting to the second quarter to run a play. I want to put my best play in. I want to take time to think it over. I want my players to feel comfortable with it. I mean, we are at the point of the field now. I see Ethan Marsico warming up. It is field goal territory, not much more than an extra point. So you're at a 3rd and 5. Let's just kind of mill it over. You much rather take 7 and 3 here, especially with an athlete like Sam on the side of Avonworth.
And there it is, the end of the first quarter. And the scoreboard is the same as at the start of the first quarter. North Catholic 0, Avonworth 0. Tomorrow, the North Catholic Trojanettes match up with the Shamrocks of Trinity High School for the PIAA 2A Girls Volleyball State Title. The Trojanettes knocked off Phillipsburg Osceola on Tuesday night in dramatic fashion, coming back from 2 sets down to win 3-2 in 5 sets. The Shamrocks are looking to claim back-to-back state titles for the first time in their school's history after they took down Allentown Central Catholic in 3 straight sets. The championship match is set for 1 p.m. at Cumberland Valley High School in Mechanicsburg, PA. You can stream it live at pcntv.com/girlsvolleyball.
Sean, I usually hear Trinity High School. I think of the Hillers, Trinity Hillers of Washington County, which also I always thought was kind of funny that you think with a name like Trinity, they'd be a religious school, but they're just simply a public school. So, I guess there's multiple Trinities in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Trinity High School also. I'm not sure where Trinity High School is from, but that's who the North Catholic girls volleyball team is playing. I was not at that 5-set win, but I watched them play Phillipsburg Osceola last year, and they lost in 4 sets. Phillipsburg Osceola had a 6'1" or 6'2" freshman girl who's one of the best volleyball players I'd ever seen. She was absolutely dominant last year, and I think they figured out, North Catholic did, how to block her a little bit better this year. So good luck to the girls next year. And back on the field, we're at a crucial play, 3rd and 4. Prentice in the shotgun, Kyle Topinski in motion. The snap to Prentice, a flag.
And the mental mistakes. It's hard when you do have these plays with motion. It's a lot of timing, right? You have to time it properly where Topinski's running at the mesh point with Prentice at the right time. But, man, that makes this decision a whole lot harder. You might be back in 4-down territory again, simply because now you're looking a little bit closer to a 27, 30-yard field goal. And I don't know if they feel comfortable with Marsico's leg at that point. You might just maybe try to pin him a little deeper.
1 second ran off the game clock. That second did not happen. We're back at 12 minutes.
Sean, they say every second counts.
I guess it does. And Prentice in the shotgun. This time he does have somebody in the backfield. It's Fennell. Prentice keeps it, looking to throw, puts the ball down. He's going to run for it. He's got a little bit on the edge, and another good tackle on the outside by Avonworth. We see Prentice break a lot of one-on-one tackles and get a few extra yards. It didn't happen there, and there was a flag well after the play. Maybe a late hit on Avonworth, which would give
I see Avonworth clapping,
so
it might be a personal foul on North Catholic. Someone coming in late, kind of trying to stand up for their quarterbacks. North Catholic doesn't look pleased, so once again, these mental errors, you got to play within your emotions here.
Darren and I have done North Catholic games all year, and we also broadcast Trojan games last year. And we probably sound like broken records talking about mental errors, but it is something that seems to trip them up in big games. They make big turnovers, they get big penalties that, like this one, now it's seeming to push them out of scoring range. They already had a fumble in the first quarter. Last week, they allowed an onside kick to occur by Keystone Oaks that allowed Keystone Oaks to drive down the field and kick a field goal to tie the game late in the fourth quarter. It's those kind of mental errors that on paper, when North Catholic should be beating teams by a lot, it really hurts them in games.
And this is just terrible field position. You can't punt it. You're not field goal range. You're just basically, hopefully, at minimum, just get close, take a shot at the end zone. Maybe you see a flag in the end zone, or maybe you just get pin them down a little deeper. But Avonworth makes their stand right there. Good form tackling leads to maybe a little bit chippiness, and both teams had penalties help them on that drive. Just Avonworth's able to hold tight.
Yeah, that was a heave from about the 23-yard line into the end zone. Liam Straub was the intended target. It looked to me like he got hit pretty early. But he and the Avonworth defender both jumped really early for that ball. I don't think either of them was going to catch it.
The Avonworth defender was playing the ball. I mean, that's a big thing when it comes to pass interference. Is you got to at least act like you're playing for the ball. You get a little bit more leeway if you're attempting to intercept it or make a play yourself. So I'm kind of curious to see, a little bit of a disappointment on that drive. You think you got points coming soon. Let's see how this defense stands up.
Avonworth has the ball on their own 23-yard line, their first pass of the game, and Carson McConey is there to knock maybe not. Maybe they're going to say he had his hand on the back of the receiver.
Sean, if you're not going to call that last play in the end zone, you can't call the other play there. I mean, both could be considered pass interference, but both guys are playing the ball. I mean, textbook, yeah, it is, but when you have a jump ball that doesn't go your way, and then you have another one, a short out, that's a tough call. That's a tough call there. But, I mean, it's the right call, but it's a tough call.
And it's going to be a holding penalty, not pass interference. And Avonworth, this is only their second drive. North Catholic held the ball forever on their second drive. This game is going a lot faster than last week's 48-41 shootout, where it seemed like if you looked down, you were going to miss a touchdown. In this one, there's been no points to miss so far. Both Avonworth and North Catholic have threatened. Avonworth got the ball on North Catholic's 32 after a fumble on their first drive. North Catholic got inside the 10-yard line, but then there was a penalty and a great tackle from behind. That time by Tyler Maziarz.
That's a gash saver. There was a whole lot of green in front of number 24, Sam, and you could hear about last week, 70, 20, 30-yard runs. To be able to kind of just track him down, you have to kind of have that moment in your head where you say, I'm not going to run this guy down, so I got to kind of time my lunge at him to hopefully get him. And great job by Maziarz staying with the play, wrapping up, and preventing a huge run.
So 2nd and 10, just under 11 minutes to play in the second quarter. Harper fakes. He's going to throw now. Topinski is in pursuit. He heaves it to the sideline, well out of everybody's reach. And that was probably because there was good coverage from all the North Catholic defensive backs.
That's tandem defense. You hear a lot about tandem defense. Coverage and rush working together. You have good coverage by the defensive backs. Kyle Topinski in his face, forced to really not take his time surveying the field and just making the smart decision, live to play another day, and throw the ball out of bounds.
That'll bring up a 3rd and 10 from Avonworth's 33. Last week, Keystone Oaks quarterback, it felt like he had forever to just stand still in the pocket and then step forward and fire the ball to an open receiver. So it was nice to see Topinski get pressure and flush Harper out of the pocket. Harper is a junior quarterback for Avonworth, so he'll be back for them next year. 3-man rush from North Catholic. Harper with loads of time throws it to Neo Miller in the flat. Miller's got to make people miss, and he's doing it so far. He gets to the 40-yard line, which is a couple yards short of the first down. Shiftiness there from Neo Miller, Darren.
Yeah, sometimes, a guy could just make a lot of things happen. For secondary, it looked like he might have been able to wiggle his way out of it and, come away with that first down. And now he kind of gave them the opportunity to go for this 4th down here.
And this is a gutsy call, 4th and 3. Maybe he's just going to try to get North Catholic to jump off sides. And maybe they'll take a timeout. Avonworth does still have all 3 of their timeouts. But this would give North Catholic a short field if the Trojans can stop them here. and North Catholic fans stomping their feet below us, and it's going to be a pooch punt. Harper pooches it, and it's going to hit at the 35 and take a nice roll down to the 25-yard line and actually inside the 25 to the 23. Well executed.
You know, Sean, when that last 4th and 15-ish North Catholic had, I was wondering if they had that play in their playbook, because that would have been a good little time to just, flip the ball a little bit, try to pin them deep. You've seen that so many times with Ben Roethlisberger, 3rd and 5, 3rd and short, maybe not great field position, 4th and something. Just take a couple steps back, pooch punt it. You try to get a couple offside calls. Both teams slight jumps, but I guess they're staying out of the neutral zone. So what we see there is, take a little bit of field position.
And that was a really good punt from Harper. And there was another flag that we missed there.
They said offense, but North Cat, and they pointed at the side of the ball of, I guess they're from the spotting it now, of Avonworth. I was kind of confused on what that call was.
So the ball is up to the 28-yard line. That's where North Catholic will take it over 1st and 10. They've got Daniel Long at tight end, 3 wide receivers, and Kyle Topinski in the backfield. Lately, we've seen Topinski move to that backfield in the 4th quarter, but it seems like he's starting there today earlier in the game. Prentice to Maziarz. The throw was a little high, or he would have been able to get a few more yards. But regardless, it's a short gain on 1st down for the Trojans.
Yeah, nice yard. Hey, that's a good 1st down play. Make it into, a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6. One thing I'm kind of curious, I wonder if that was the game plan all along. Maybe use Kyle Topinski in the slot, save some carries, save some abuse. And then, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, then you bring out, the heavy hitter. So, you have athletes that can be interchangeable at a couple of positions, and that definitely makes it difficult for defensive coordinators if they're just kind of looking at the personnel.
Low snap. Topinski is able to pick it up, and he's going to turn what could have been a disaster into some positive yardage as he gets out up over the 35-yard line. And there was some stuff after the play. Tyler Maziarz was falling to the turf, so we'll see what is called here.
This game can be a little chippy. North Catholic is located in Cranberry, but there is, a fair amount of our student body from Avonworth. We have students from that district, so there's a lot of interacting between these two student bodies. But if you're really looking at the numbers, it does feel like a home field advantage for North Catholic today. If you're just.
Yeah, there are a lot of North Catholic fans here, and the Avonworth section across from us that we can see from our booth is also very full, so a well-attended game. And not only do the student bodies know each other, the athletic teams know each other, and I'll say a little bit more about that after this play, and it's going to be a flag, probably a false start on North Catholic. Yeah.
You hate to see that. You get that nice little 15-yard chunk. You're cooking with gas now. You're in their territory, and now you put yourself behind the chains again.
This is the 7th time in just this fall sports season that North Catholic and Avonworth have met in some event. Girls volleyball 2 times, girls soccer 4 times. Avonworth won 3 of the 4 in girls soccer, including a Wpil4a final and a state semifinal, and North Catholic won both in girls volleyball, a regular season matchup, and then the Wpil4a final. Prentice with the shotgun snap. He's looking down the field. He's going deep for Tyler Maziarz. Maziarz tried to get back on the ball, but right in good position is Ian Sam, and Trojan fans calling for a flag, but I think Sam got turned around and just made a good play.
Yeah, it was borderline. You could throw that flag there, you could not throw that flag there. I think to a degree these refs are going to try to let the kids play, let the result be on the field. They don't want any late hits, any dirty plays, but outside of that, it looks like unless something's going to be kind of egregious, they're going to let it go.
That brings up a 2nd and 15 with 9:20 to go. So with the girls volleyball and girls soccer teams having played 6 times, the season series stands at North Catholic 3, Avonworth 3. So this is kind of a game 7.
Oh, wow.
If you will. And Prentice with a fake pass, and he throws it to, this time, Fennell over the middle. Fennell makes the catch, and he breaks 2 tackles and falls out of bounds at about the 30-yard line.
Usually we talk about, Fennell is just a speed burner, but some toughness at the end of the run there, a little bit of a truck stick action. But good job by the Avonworth defensive back staying with the play and not letting his speed get the best of them. And
yeah, it could have been much more than a first down as we approach 9 minutes to play in the second quarter. Still scoreless. North Catholic, though, threatening to put the first points on the board. 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Prentice looks to pass to one of his 4 receivers. It's a screen to Topinski, and he's got some green in front of him, and the first person to hit him does tackle him, and that was number 6 for Avonworth, Brandon Biagirelli, but that's not until Topinski gets a first down at the 20-yard line.
You know, North Catholic's been doing a really good job using misdirection, play action, not really letting this Avonworth defensive line just pin their ears back and go, right? They kind of have to first check out their run fits, and then they can kind of rush, a delayed. I've watched the outside linebacker from Avonworth kind of read for a second and then rush the passer. I mean, that's some good scheming by the North Catholic coaching staff to buy their quarterback some time to play.
Prentice with the snap, looking to throw. Maziar's was open, and it's overthrown. And that was a touchdown with an accurate throw, I would say. But Prentice missed Maziar's. Earlier, he had as you described it, an absolute dime to Maziar's that went off Maziar's hands. That time, Maziar's was pretty open, but an errant throw.
Sean, when it gets cold like this, it's hard to throw the ball. Your shoulder's a little tight. Obviously, as a running quarterback, he's moving, staying warm. But at the end of the day, you have to grip a cold ball and try to put it on the place. It's a hard task to do.
Quick pass to Laconi. Laconi makes the first man miss. He's trying to get to the outside. Biagirelli tackles him from behind, but a good gain on second down for Laconi. It's going to be 3rd and 5 from the 15, and that's certainly 4-down territory at this point, I would say.
Yeah, we're definitely in this 4-down. So let's see if they kind of go with that conservative 3rd down call, make it a lot more manageable before, you'd rather have a 4th and 1 than maybe, a 4th and 5 to try to get it all at once. So let's see if they go with it here. We got Kyle Topinski in the background. Let's see what Avonworth does here. Are they going to bring pressure to try to force their hand, or are they going to try to play back and see what happens?
Yeah, North Catholic trying to spread the field, and it's going to be an option play. The pitch to Topinski, and it's well covered by Avonworth. Topinski, though, still trying to fight forward. He gets to about the 17-yard line. That's going to be a loss of 1 yard. They're going to mark him down at the 16-yard line. Brilliant defense there from Avonworth.
Whoever's really, coaching the fundamentals of Avonworth's defense deserves a hand, because great form tackling by this Avonworth defense. That you can't just try to hit and you hope you knock over Kyle Topinski or Joey Prentice, and even some of our receivers in the open field. So Avonworth's defense, and commending the players as well, sticking their noses in there, wrapping up, staying with the play. Good fundamental defense by Avonworth.
North Catholic is going to play with an empty backfield. Topinski and Fennell are both in the slot as wide receivers, and Avonworth has maybe not seen that look before. They're going to call a timeout, and we're going to have a huge play, 4th and 6, with 6:50 to go in the second quarter. Congratulations to the WPIAL 2A champion Avonworth girls soccer team on a great season. Earlier today, they met up with Allentown Central Catholic in Hershey. Unfortunately, they were defeated 2-1 in the PIAA 2A Girls Soccer Championship as Allentown Central Catholic rallied to score 2 goals in the final 3 minutes to win. Ava Wirt scored the lone Antelope goal at the 36:51 mark of the first half. Again, congratulations on a great season and for representing the WPIAL with pride to the Avonworth girls soccer team. Who broke some hearts at North Catholic twice in the last couple weeks, beating North Catholic in the second overtime period in the Wpil4a Championship at where the Riverhounds play in the south side.
Highmark Stadium.
Highmark Stadium, thank you. The name was escaping me.
Sean, it really seems like there's 2 to 3 schools that are in the state semifinals for everything, like North Catholic, Avonworth, Allentown Central Catholic. A lot of these schools have really successful fall seasons. Yeah,
North Catholic and Avonworth across every sport have done really, really well this year. And here's a crucial play. North Catholic is going to come out in that 5 wide receiver set. They are Maziar's and Fennell to the right, Topinski,
grab man coverage here.
And Avonworth brings 4, thrown into the end zone, and it's almost intercepted by Sam.
What a defensive play by Sam, breaking on that ball.
Sam, it looked like to me, had Fennell on the outside, saw where that ball was going, left his man, and dove in front of Maziar's, who was waiting for that ball to drop into his hands.
Yeah, we see kind of a holding penalty as well. So it's hard because a lot of these young receivers, you really got to attack the ball in the air, and sometimes you're running your route and you're trying to track it. That's kind of the major difference we see between college receivers and high school receivers. Nick Maher, who's currently at West Virginia right now, was really good at attacking the ball in the air. So hopefully with time, if these guys play at the next level, that's something they could grow into as well.
So North Catholic turns it over on downs again after threatening to score. And you got to hope that from a North Catholic fan perspective that those missed scoring opportunities don't come back to bite you, as you've been inside Avonworth's 20-yard line twice and you haven't come away with points. From an Avonworth perspective, you started a drive on North Catholic's 32 and you also didn't get points.
Sean, I don't know about you. It just, with the athletes on this field and these offenses, it just kind of feels like there's a big play waiting to happen on either side of the ball. Sam might break a big run. We might see a Kyle Topinski or Joey Prentice long play. I just have that ticking time bomb feeling that something big's happening soon. You often hear about football games, in comparison to a boxer, feeling out their fights, right? They're just jabbing, kind of seeing what their opponents are doing. And both these teams are kind of seeing what they're doing. But with the athletes they have, I don't know if you've had the feeling, it just feels something big's going to break soon.
I've been really impressed with the tackling so far. I foresee no points in the near future. I think we're going to be scoreless at halftime, just based on what I've seen so far.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of sustained drives today, Sean. I'm maybe these teams will come out and put 40 on the board in the second half with nice good sustained drives. But what I'm saying is I could see this game being a 21-14 game some way, and all 5 touchdowns are 30+ yard plays. I just kind of have that feeling with these teams.
It's going to be a deep throw, and Miller is ran over by Chase Arrington, but they're going to let that go as well.
That was actually really good defense. It's called a squeeze technique. You want to squeeze the receiver to the sideline, right? Because if he steps out of bounds, he can't be the first person to touch the ball. And then they kind of got tripped up amongst each other. And if you notice, Arrington's head was turned the whole time. He was tracking that ball. So just a great defensive play. I mean, Chase Arrington probably starting to get some looks now as a defensive back himself for the next level. So he's definitely their best cover corner.
And this time it's a run from Sam, and it looked like he had a hole to burst through, but somebody was able to come off their block and make the tackle, and that, I believe, is Tyler Primrose. That's the first time we've called his name tonight, and he's been a stalwart all year on the defensive line for North Catholic.
That's what I mean, Sean. You see plays like there's a lane, or you see someone in open space, and someone just makes a good open field tackle. Yeah, eventually, one of those tackles is going to get broken, and I don't know who's going to be the first to break.
And Biagirelli on a trick play here, almost a shovel pass. That gets sniffed out by North Catholic, and nothing doing for Avonworth.
I thought that was about to be picked going the other way for a second there. I saw a bunch of red jerseys flooding on in, and I thought we were about to see someone running the other way. There's been some defensive touchdowns for North Catholic this year from Mitch Lanthal or Robbie Crest, amongst others. So
Your favorite, the lineman touchdoon, could have happened.
The greatest play I'll probably ever call in my life. This team could go on and win the state title. That will never compare to the lineman touchdown.
Lucius Marbella, I think.
I'm forever grateful for Lucius for that play.
Their punter is their quarterback. I hadn't realized that. Nate Harper is back there to punt, I believe. So probably always a threat for a fake, but not on this position in the field. And North Catholic is not going to pick it up. They're going to be content to get the ball squarely on the 50-yard line with 5:15 to go in the second quarter. Looking at some of our game notes, I know I've been at North Catholic for 5 years now, and I know that the semifinals have been the North Catholic bugaboo, losing in the semis 3 of the last 4 years, and in the quarterfinals to South Park in the other year. Their all-time semifinal record is 1-11.
Yeah, I mean, the South Park game was actually, I believe, a quarterfinal game. Yeah. Last year it was a bad matchup with EF. I mean, EF had great linemen that kind of could just hold the ball 3 yards in a cloud of dust, and that's just kind of killed them last game. But it's sometimes obviously at this point you almost wonder, a lot of those players weren't there for those games, but is it just kind of in the heads? Kind of passed down from upperclassmen to underclassmen.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And there's a negative play from the North Catholic offense, but a great play from Eric Studebaker to bring down Joey Prentice. Prentice is very, very hard to sack because he has great ball fakes and then quickness to go with it. Studebaker, you talked about the fundamentals of tackling. He was just wrapped around the lower body of Joey Prentice, not letting him go anywhere.
There was a lot of really close calls, and I thought Joey had really good pocket presence, but eventually, finally, one of them just hit home.
Prentice is rolling to his right, and he's going to throw it to a wide-open Kyle Topinski, who falls on it at the 42 of Avonworth. That's going to bring up a 3rd and 2. That's a huge play there.
Yeah, what a nice throw on the run by Joey Prentice. And good job by Jack Fennell, man. He had a big defensive lineman in his face on that rolling pocket, hung in there, bought Joey Prentice a little bit of time to make that running throw.
3rd and 2, 4 minutes left. And the ball is on the ground again. The exchange between Prentice and Topinski was not clean. And Avonworth is going to fall on it again. And in the turnover battle, it is now 4 for Avonworth if you count those 4th downs. And I think Avonworth missed 1 4th down maybe. I think they went for it on 1 4th down. So 4-1 in terms of turnovers. Every drive for North Catholic has ended in a missed 4th down or a fumble.
Sean, they say like the team that wins the turnover battle wins like 70% of the game. So you almost wonder what's going on there. If it's getting in their heads now, it's the same song and dance, right?
Yeah, that has been their Achilles heel in a lot of their semifinal losses, has been the turnovers, as Avonworth fires a pass well over the head of the receiver on 1st down.
And speaking of the South Park loss, I've only been in North Catholic for 3 years. That out of all the losses, EF was frustrating, but you could say EF was the better team that day. South Park was one of the most heartbreaking losses. Just anything that could go wrong did, and they really had that opportunity to put that game away, and it kind of backfired. Weird.
There's a lot of motion on both sides there, and they're going to call it on Avonworth, which will bring up a 2nd and 15. That South Park game, as you said, was in the quarterfinals. North Catholic, I think, had to get a 1st down, and they were going to win the game late in the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
and they fumbled the ball away, and then South Park on the very next play had a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah, even if they don't get the 1st down, they're punting it, and South Park was a running team, and they have a long field to go. And then on the ensuing kickoff, the ball ping-ponged off 3 different North Catholic players, and it was recovered by South Park. So yeah, a lot of those guys in this game were sophomores or freshmen. So, but you just wonder if they think about it. That's.
And here's Sam. He's going to try to break it to the outside. And he gets touched, and you got to be really careful there if you're Gavin Camedy. There is no flag thrown. Camedy definitely made contact with Sam out of bounds, but no flag, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and 10.
That's always a tough play. You can't not touch him, because if you don't, he turns the corner and he runs for 80 yards or 60 yards at that point. So you're almost danged if you do, danged if you don't. So I think once again it was attempting to play within the bounds. So
Harper rolls to his right, 3rd and 10. He's got a receiver out there, and Laconey, again, just all over his receiver. Laconey is, you mentioned Arrington on the one side. I think Laconey makes an even bigger impact on defense, having him back than he does on offense. He's an excellent cornerback.
Yeah, you have Laconey on corner now, and it just improves your depth chart. And I believe Laconey's going to Bucknell. I'm not sure if that's for football or lacrosse, but that is a Division I school, so that just shows you that he's an athlete, right? So anytime you get Division I athletes back on your team, that's going to help you.
And Harper this time is going to do another one of his pooch kicks, and it's going to take another good roll inside the 20-yard line. Harper seems to have mastered that play. When your quarterback is your punter, he's lining up in like the shotgun distance, and North Catholic can't have a returner back there, and then he backs up, and he pooches it deep. It eliminates the return game entirely. It's a great strategy.
You can't, because if you don't, if you kind of go with a punt return, there's some guys they sub in and out for the special teams, and you might have a receiver in a matchup you don't want, and he can make that throw. So that's one of the beautiful things about high school football is a lot of times it's just your 11 best athletes on the field. A lot of Mr. Do-It-Alls. So
Daniel Long does it all for North Catholic, although we haven't seen any of his kicking prowess yet tonight because North Catholic hasn't had to kick off or punt. Topinski with the ball. He's going to fall forward for 3 or 4 yards. We talked a lot about the North Catholic players have seen kind of the struggles to get to the final. On the Avonworth side, I think there's a flag on the field. But on the Avonworth side, there's a lot of players on this team who had brothers who played on Avonworth's team that won the 2019. And there's a personal foul on Avonworth that's going to move North Catholic 15 yards up the field. I was saying there's a lot of players on this Avonworth team that had brothers that played big roles on the 2019 Avonworth team that won their first Wpil title in 50 years and then advanced all the way to the state final. Neo Miller, his brother played on that team, and now that brother plays baseball at the University of Pitt Greensburg. Nate Harper, the quarterback, his brother was also on that team. And is currently at Duquesne playing football as Topinski gets another run, a good chunky yardage on first down, 4 or 5 yards. Nate Harper is an interesting story. His dad is the AD at Duquesne.
Oh, wow.
His brother plays football at Duquesne, and another brother, Drew, is at IMG Academy for football.
Wow, so that athletes running their family. And, just give Avonworth their credence, man. It's hard moving up divisions. Those were 2A championship games, and now they've moved up to 3A, and where they are right back in the semifinals. So, kudos to the coaching staff, kudos to the players there.
Prentice on a bootleg. It's tipped, almost intercepted, and then caught and falling maybe to the first down marker is I couldn't see who that
Robbie
was.
Kress.
Robbie Kress, tight end for North Catholic. It is still third down, so
a flood of emotions on that play, Sean. You almost have a pick six, and then great job, Robbie Kress. Not a whole lot of balls thrown his way, but staying with the play, holding on, and falling forward to make it a very third and very manageable.
They're going to call it a first down. And if North Catholic ends up scoring, that's a play to keep in mind. Where Avonworth got a hand on that ball, could have been an interception. Instead, it turns into a North Catholic first down as we near the 2-minute mark of the second quarter. Prentice under center, 2 tight ends in for the Trojans. Topinski in the backfield. Topinski's going to get the ball. He breaks it to his right. He's got some move. And there, again, wrapping up down low. And the Avonworth coaching and video people are next door, and we can hear them yelling, "Get the ball, get the ball." So once you get stood up as a North Catholic defender, you've got to wrap that ball up because the Antelopes are going after turnovers.
I almost want to go over and shake their hands for thank you for wrapping up. Because so many teams, all levels of football don't want to wrap up anymore. And I love a good wrapping tackle, technical tackle. So it's kind of refreshing to see Avonworth really stick with those good fundamentals.
Flea flicker play. Prentice throws it deep. Fennell is the ball's underthrown, and Fennell is not allowed to go back to that ball, and it's going to be an interference penalty on Elvin Lee of Avonworth. As North Catholic, we have not seen that. I've never seen that play in the 5 years I've been here. The flea flicker play in the semifinals.
Good time to break it out. Sean, when I said they were going to call egregious stuff? Yeah, that was egregious pass interference. So, head not turned around, simply just pushing him away from coming back. Unlike the NFL, it's not a spot foul, but it does give him a new set of downs, some yards to work with. And if North Catholic can somehow come away with some points at the end of this half, just come in with, a good, feeling going into halftime. I believe Avonworth get the ball, or did we get the ball first?
Avonworth will get the ball first in the second half. And it's a reverse to Daniel Long. He's rumbling to about the 30-yard line, and multiple flags fly in, and we'll see what the penalty is
almost
here.
Like a modified flex bone there. You had Kyle Topinski right on the backside of Joey Prentice taking that fake handoff, and Daniel Long coming around the end. And don't forget, though Daniel Long's been playing tight end this year, he's played like a halfback, fullback hybrid up until this year. So he is used to carrying the ball, So let's see what this penalty is, if it's a holding or a face mask or what have you.
Yeah, a big penalty here makes it a lot harder for North Catholic to score because there's only 1:30 left on the clock.
And they're walking backwards, so I don't think it sounds good.
Holding on one of the North Catholic tight ends. That's going to make it 1st and 20. With only 1:29 to go, North Catholic does have 2 timeouts left.
I'm kind of surprised, Sean, they're saying the culprits. I thought in high school football usually save the young men from the embarrassment, but maybe in big-time games like this, they just let it ride.
Prentice fakes to Topinski. He's passing. He throws it deep down the middle. Maziarz is open, and it's 1 yard too far. Tyler Maziarz banging his hands on the turf in the end zone. There's another very, very near touchdown for North Catholic.
This game could very easily be 21-0 if just a couple of these connections find their way. You know, as I talked about, Sean, you feel a big play's coming either way. You know, and I think either Sam's going to make a big play for Avonworth, or at this point, I think one of these long passes are going to connect. You know, they've been doing this since, you know, July, maybe even, you know, June with summer ball. Eventually, you're going to find that connection.
4 wide receivers for the Trojans. Fennell in the backfield. Prentice looking to pass. There's a free rusher. It's a screen pass to Fennell. Fennell, can he make one guy miss? He does. He spins forward to the 42-yard line. Only a short gain, though. That brings up 3rd and long with about a minute to play.
Yeah, once again, trying to get an athlete in space, see if you could, you know, a safer play without putting your quarterback in danger, you know, for a blindside hit, for a fumble, try to just move the ball a little closer. I think North Catholic's going to take their good old time, because I believe how many timeouts does Avonworth have left?
Avonworth should have at least 2 timeouts. I can't really see. They have one timeout. Avonworth has 1 timeout, so it would be hard for them to go down the field. North Catholic is waiting pretty long. Fake handoff to Fennell. Prentice has time. He's rolling, and he's going to get – oh, he breaks a tackle and finally gets thrown to the ground by number – I think that's 6. Number 6 on Avonworth, which I believe is Brandon Biagirelli.
Yeah, that was a hard hit. Almost looked helmet to helmet, but, you know, that's sometimes the price you pay when you extend a play there.
And we'll see if North Cat – do you take a shot at the end zone here?
I mean, why not? I mean, a touchdown here could be the difference. I mean, any points on the board. And you know, in a defensive struggle like this where both offenses haven't found the end zone, and I know North Catholic has had success, it could just be an emotional break. Like, you know, Avonworth hasn't really gotten in sync yet, so if they come down 7-0, you know, man, we couldn't get a whole half of scoring, you know. So I would say try it. I mean, you know, there is that danger of a big return off the interception, but
I think you have a lot of your defensive players out there on the offense of North Catholic. Prentice is a safety. He would probably be the last line of defense as the quarterback. Topinski is out there. Fennell is a state qualifier in the 100 meters. He's going to be able to run people down. I would love to see them take a shot at the end zone.
I think
with
you have
3
to. I mean,
left.
it's, you know, everything breaks down on those interception plays. It's not like a defensive snap where you're going to your assignment. It's kind of backyard ball, but. Yeah, at this point, there's no point why you wouldn't, right? The chance of them getting a 100-yard, you know, interception return is far less than, you know.
I'm sure Alabama thought the same thing when they tried that long field goal against Auburn, though. 5 wide receivers, presumably all will be sprinting to the end zone. Let's see how many players Avonworth sends here. They're just going to rush 2, so Prentice should have plenty of time. And he's going to fling it, and it's intercepted, but Topinski is right there to tackle the Avonworth player at the 12-yard line. It's not going to matter that much in the course of the game, but that was North Catholic's 5th turnover of the half, if you count those 2 missed first downs. But none of them resulted in points for the Avonworth Antelopes. And so the first half of this WPIAL semifinal ends the same way that it started, 0-0. We have no scoring to recap for you. North Catholic got close multiple times, 2 times inside the 20-yard line. Avonworth was also close to scoring. They got inside the North Catholic 20 as well on their first offensive drive when they recovered a fumble at their own 32-yard line. And they almost had, as you said, a pick 6. The tipped ball went to Robbie Kress. And this defensive battle will carry over into the second half, which is set to start about 20 minutes from now. I believe we're going to have the Trib halftime show for you during the half. And then Darren and I will be back with you for the second half. And maybe Darren can shed some insight on how we're going to get some points in this game in the second half, because we certainly didn't get any in the first half. We hope you enjoy the performances by the bands, maybe too, if we have time. But definitely stay tuned for the Trib Live halftime show.
Final Four Friday edition of the halftime show on the Trib Live High School Sports Network, sponsored by SE Tire and Export Tire, your local tire experts. They work hard to earn your business. They have your size tire in stock installed today, all the best brands best brands at the best tire prices. Export Tire, Old William Penn Highway and Export. SE Tire, conveniently located Route 51 in Bell Vernon. That's not glare, by the way, you see. That's my angelic status as we get ready to enter the road to Hershey. That's right. Technically, while the WPIAL playoffs are still going on, the PIAA first-round playoffs begin this weekend. So all the semifinal games tonight, the 6A championship tomorrow, are all part of the first round of the WPIAL playoffs. So the road to Hershey is our focus here this week, Chris Harlan, and we'll start in 6A tomorrow. The big title game, 1 versus 2, Mount Lebanon against Central Catholic for WPIAL Gold. The winner of the game will play the winner of tonight's contest going on at Couple Stadium, the City League champion Alderdice Dragons against the District 10 champions, the McDowell Trojans.
Yeah, the team out there to look for on the eastern side of the state, again, is St. Joseph's Prep. They're the team that, they've won 3 in a row. They've won 6A 6 of the last 8 years. They don't have the combination of quarterback Kyle McCord and wide receiver Marvin Harrison anymore. They're both at Ohio State, but they do have a really good sophomore dual threat guy who already has a Temple offer. So there's a good chance when you get to Hershey, St. Joseph's Prep could be waiting for whoever gets out of the West.
Yeah, with Central York losing in the District 3 playoffs last week, St. Joe's Prep back up at number 1 in the HSSN state rankings. The other teams on the western half of the state, they're all District 3. Their semifinals, West Lawn Wilson, who beat Central York, taking on Harrisburg in Delaware Valley against District 6 State College. So Delaware Valley actually from District 2. It's not the District 3 semifinals. Wilson and Harrisburg are the District 3 finals. Now that you're totally confused, let's move on to Class 5A. The semifinals in the WPIAL happening as we speak. Penn Trafford, Pine Richland, Penn Hills Moon. The other 4 teams on the western side of the bracket that eventually will play the WPIAL in the semifinals, they are from District 3. It's the District 3 semifinals. Governor Mifflin taking on Spring Grove. That game is this evening. Also tonight, Exeter against Cedar Cliff.
Yeah, Governor Mifflin's an interesting team, kind of the favorite in District 3 in their playoffs. They've got a running back, Nicholas Singleton, a 1,500-yard, 30-touchdown guy, already committed to Penn State. So that's a team that could be in the way for whatever WPIAL team gets into the state playoffs.
WPIL4A semifinals tonight, Aliquippa, McKeesport, Thomas Jefferson, Bell Vernon. The winner of the championship, the WPIAL championship, will slide into the PIAA semifinals, and they'll play the winner of the survivor of these 4 teams going on tonight. Allentown Central Catholic, they had a big upset of Northwestern Lehigh last week in the District 11 playoffs. They're taking on the number 1 team in 4A in our HSSN rankings, Jersey Shore out of District 4. And then Meadville from District 10 taking on District 6, Juniata.
Yeah, people might remember the name Jersey Shore because that's the team that Thomas Jefferson defeated in the state championship game a year ago. But the brackets are a little bit different from this year to last year. Because of the pandemic, they kind of moved some of the brackets around. This year, that District 4 champion is on Thomas Jefferson's side of the bracket on the WPIAL side. So that would be a semifinal if they ran into Jersey Shore this year.
Road to Hershey, 3A, 2A, and Class A, when the halftime show continues on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Need new tires in a hurry? SE Tire has your size tire in stock. Install today. Before you hit the open road, see the tire experts at SE Tire. We do tires and we do them right. Before you hit the open road, see the tire experts at Export Tire. We do tires and we do them right. If it has wheels, we have the tires. Export Tire, your commercial tire headquarters.
With Chris Harlan, I'm Don Rebel. Halftime show on Semifinal Friday continues on the Trib Live High School Sports Network. 3A semifinals this evening. defending state champion Central Valley against Elizabeth Forward, rematch of last year's district title game. Avonworth against North Catholic. The winner will go into the semifinals, the winner of the district, and will play one of these 4 teams. District 10 championship tomorrow, Slippery Rock against Grove City, and Martinsburg Central from District 6. They are playing Bedford from District 5 here this evening.
Yeah, team to watch on the eastern side of the state. Why I'm missing. They were the team that was in the championship game last year. Central Valley defeated them in the 3A game. They got a little bit of news earlier this year because they broke Southern Columbia's long winning streak. They got a cheer from Clairton that let Clairton's the record streak stand. So why I'm missing out there at District 3. They're a team definitely to watch. That could be there in Hershey if a WPIAL team gets there again this year.
Briefcases to the Spartans from the Bears. It's really, or attaché cases, if you will. Let's go to Class 2A semifinals. Steel Valley, Beaver Falls, Sarah Catholic, Stowe Rocks. Again, winner into the state semifinals in 2 weeks. They'll play one of these 4 teams. The District 9 championship is going on tonight. Karn City against Ridgeway. And a matchup coming up tomorrow at Couple Stadium on the south side of Pittsburgh. Runner-up in the City League, Westinghouse, going up against District 10 power Farrell.
Yeah, Farrell to me is an interesting one because, it wasn't that long ago they were a WPIAL school. I mean, they were, I think it was mid-2000s, around 2006, they left to go to District 10. But imagine if they were still here. I mean, they did Farrell in with a bracket that had Steel Valley and Stowe Rocks, and they'd fit right in. I mean, that would be a tremendous team. Too bad they're up in District 10. Good for them. Maybe good for some WPIAL teams that don't have to play them until the state finals or the state playoffs. But I do miss those days of Farrell being a WPIAL team.
Wilmington probably wishes they were still in the WPIAL.
I'm sure they do.
After the Greyhounds lost to the Steelers last week. All right. Finally, Class A semifinals in the WPIAL. Our Lady of the Sacred Heart taking on Rochester. Bishop Canevin against Cornell. Big 7. 3 of the final 4. In 2 weeks, the WPIAL champion into the state semifinals will play one of these 4 teams. District 9 championship going on tonight. Red Bank Valley against Union, AC Valley, Allegheny Clarion Valley. And the other matchup going on tonight is District 10 champion Reynolds against District 5 champion Northern Bedford.
Yeah, Single A is one of those strange brackets where you could actually have an all-Western final because District 6 that has Bishop Guilfoyle and some of those other schools, it's actually on the eastern side of the bracket. They've got a tough road. There's some good teams over there. Undefeated Canton, undefeated Old Forge, defending champion Steelton High Spire, all on that side of the bracket too. But theoretically, you could get a District 6 versus District 7, an all-Western Pennsylvania championship in Single A.
And real quick, the Class A in the state is just like Class A in the WPIAL, where it's been tough. Chris handles the district rankings. It's been tough in Class A with teams winning, losing, bouncing up and down. Same thing has been the case in the state. So it'll make for an interesting PIAA postseason. SE Tire and Export Tire, your local tire experts, have been sponsoring the halftime show all year, including this evening's episode. All the best brands at the best tire prices. Shop online. Check out their Google reviews. We hope you check out our coverage of the championships coming up next week. For Chris Harlan, I'm Don Rebel. Enjoy the second half of the game. You are watching here on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Gentlemen, now taking the field is the North Catholic High School Trojan Marching Band. This year, the band takes you into the world of your dreams, playing selections from The Sorcerer's Apprentice, Battlefield from Cirque du Soleil, and from the video game Civilization 6, Sunya De Volare. And now, under the direction of Drum Major Ellie Armitage, presenting our 2021 program, It Was Only a Dream, please welcome to the field the North Catholic High School Trojan Marching Band.
Welcome back, everyone, to this WPIAL Class 3A football semifinal between the North Catholic Trojans and the Avonworth Antelopes at Fox Chapel. At this point, I would normally recap the scoring for you from the first half, but there was no scoring. Which is last week my scoring sheet was totally filled. I was going to have to start writing in just any free space I had with a 48-41 North Catholic victory. Totally different story here this week. We had 89 points last week in North Catholic's game, and Avonworth probably could have scored 89 points themselves against Mount Pleasant. They had a running back with 6 touchdowns in the first half, but nobody has sniffed the end zone tonight here in this game, Darren. I'm going to try to put you in the shoes of both coaches. The teams are taking the field. They're going to probably have 2 or 3 minutes to warm up. If you're Coach O'Shea, he's been at North Catholic, I think this is his 5th year. He's trying to how do you get your team finally to Heinz Field? What do you have to do to put points on the board if you're North Catholic?
I mean, first off, don't shoot yourself in the foot. I mean, there's only so much he could do about that. I mean, that's on the players to, make sure they're giving good handoffs, make sure they're giving good snaps. We've talked about it before. If you're getting stood up, 2 hands on the ball, don't give up a fumble. We mentioned this a little bit at halftime. We went off the air. We talked for a second, and we kind of have the feeling that first team scores might win this game. Like, just the emotional boost of being that first team in a defensive struggle. Avonworth's offense really hasn't gotten rhythm at all. North Catholic keeps on getting stymied, a bend but don't break by Avonworth's defense. So that really, I think, might be the defining factor, who just find a way to put points on the board first.
Yeah, well, let's look at it from the Avonworth side. Their coach is Duke Jeancourt, and his dad, Barry, is also his assistant coach. That's kind of a cool connection. And Barry Jeancourt was the last head coach at Churchill High School before Churchill merged with another school to become
I think
Woodland
Turtle
Hills.
Creek and Forest Hills to be Woodland Hills.
Yeah, so if you're Coach Jeancourt for Avonworth, what do you have to do to score?
I think you just keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I know the offense hasn't been maybe to what you'd like, but there's been a couple plays. It's been one guy, stopping that gasher. We've talked about it. You have a guy who's rushed for 200 yards and a half. He can make big plays. You just kind of hope one of them springs at this point. I know it sounds very simplistic to say that, but North Catholic just needs to stop making mistakes, and Avonworth just keeps doing what they're doing. I mean, the defense hasn't totally been marched up and down the field for Avonworth. I mean, a lot of those drives that North Catholic has been aided by penalties. So maybe if they make some better stop the mental mistakes, instead of knocking on the door 2-3 times, they might be much in the same position as North Catholic's defense, really stymieing what they're doing.
And not only penalties, but I think great individual plays from Joey Prentice a couple times where he's on the run and flinging the ball sidearm to Jack Fennell, I believe. He's pulling the ball down and getting some tough yardage for a first down. He really extended by his own a couple North Catholic drives that may have ended in punts. North Catholic did not punt the ball in that first half. Avonworth had 3 punts. North Catholic had 1 interception. Prentice threw 1 interception on the last play of the half that was kind of like just a throwaway, like I'm just going to chuck it down the field as far as I can, and Avonworth was able to grab it. And then also 2 fumbles that were just one was a drive killer. North Catholic was across the 50-yard line, and another one gave in Avonworth their best scoring opportunity of the first half. And then the other 2 drives for North Catholic were 4th downs very close to the end zone that were not converted. So North Catholic has yet to punt, which normally when you say that, you've got a lot of points on the board, but that's not the case tonight.
Yeah, and I wonder where the heads are at of each team respectfully. Like, Avonworth has maybe really haven't gotten in a rhythm offensively, but they've been close to a couple big plays. Defense has really stepped up when he needed it. And on the other side of the field, you have North Catholic. This has been the boogeyman, this semifinal game. But usually, we've talked about this, they're up, and then they just crumble and fall apart. I mean, hate to say it, they didn't play a good half of football. Didn't play a clean half, I should say. They played some good plays. They didn't make it a clean half. Like, do you feel good that your defense is holding and you're not down after playing, 1 or 2, 3, possibly, 5 turnovers, and you're still a tie ball game? Like, do you feel good? Like, if we just play clean, we're going to be fine. So I'm curious to see how each team comes out in the second half. What adjustments are made? Will Avonworth just take a chance and rush more aggressively to get to Joey Prentice? They started getting to a little more in the second half. I mean, they've been kind of waiting and seeing with some of those reads. Are they just going to say, go get it and see if we can maybe cause a turnover there? And
Avonworth, mentally, they have a lot of players on this team that were young, maybe not starters when Avonworth went to the state finals in 2019. I mentioned a couple of them. Kevin Feltner, a good lineman for them, has a brother who's playing at Westminster that was on that team. The running back, Ian Sam, his brother was on that team. And a wide receiver, his brother is at Air Force right now. And it is Neo Miller on the kickoff return. He's got a little bit of room. A good return for Miller up about across the 35-yard line. And North Catholic gave up a big kickoff return against Keystone Oaks. And their special teams defensively really struggled in that game, except for the final play where they got this strip and then fell on the ball to seal the win after a couple of Kyle Topinski rushes. So pretty decent field position for Avonworth.
I'd also love to see if North Catholic can get a turnover, how that changes the mindset. Avonworth's been smart with the ball. Would they kind of start, second-guessing if North Catholic can come away with a nice play there?
And it looks like they're going to come out in a wildcat. Sam with the ball. He's going to run it. He's got a lot of room up the middle. And that was a great tackle by Robbie Crest, even though it was still a 12 or 13-yard gain. That was a big play waiting to happen that you said has just been simmering below the surface. Sam almost went the distance there.
High school football, like I mentioned throughout this year, it's very simple. You put your best athletes, you put the ball in their hands. You want to give them as much carte blanche to be the best athlete on the field. So,
and there's Sam with a lot of room again. He gets to the 30. He spins, and he can't get away from Carson Laconi. What did you see in those 2 wildcat plays, Darren? How is Sam getting that much room to run? Because he didn't have that much room up the middle, and both of those plays were really not that far out wide to the field.
I mean, some of the defenders in those wildcats, you got to respect the jet motion because, that's a person, an athlete running in space with a head start. So let's kind of see where they go with this.
And again, it's Sam up the middle, and to me, what's getting him as he gets another first down, what is allowing him to be successful is that Sam has the people who are chasing him can't get him from behind.
I mean, yeah, this is why you don't get 200 yards by accident if you're not a good athlete. I mean, I don't care who you're playing. You can play Little Sisters of the Poor. You got to be able to run the football if you're going to get 200 yards. So, this is looks like just an adjustment of the Avonworth coaching staff saying, here's our best guy. We're lining up. See if you could stop him.
And there's the motion again, Miller. And Sam is just going to run behind Miller. And Miller had a good block, and Topinski's not going to bring down Sam. It's going to be some other North Catholic players after another good gain of about 6 yards to bring up a 2nd and 4. And Avonworth already is down to the 13-yard line of North Catholic. Avonworth seems to have something figured out, and they are just going to this wildcat play with Ian Sam in the quarterback position. Neo Miller is running in motion, and then Sam is taken off behind Miller, who gets him a block, and then Sam is putting his foot in the ground and bursting forward.
You know what's crazy about this too is it's not clean snaps all the time. It's not pretty handoffs. The mesh point is off. It's just, you have that double tight end on that one side, and they're just overloading. I don't know if North Catholic doesn't have a shift ready for it, and they didn't really have, never seen this on film before. Maybe this is something Avonworth kept in their back pocket all season. And, it's, I hate to say the plays aren't well executed, but they're working great, Yeah.
Sam, I think, had a chance to break a few big runs in the first half. I think one, Kyle Topinski caught him from behind. That may have been their 4th down play. And then on another play, Tyler Maziarz made a great one-on-one tackle on the outside. And on the several runs that Sam had there was people in pursuit of him from behind. And they weren't catching him. I don't know if that's because he got a better head start just receiving the ball in the shotgun, so he got up to top speed faster, if the blocking was better. But he was getting past that first wave of North Catholic defenders and really just breaking off big chunks. And Avonworth has moved down the field pretty quickly. And even now, it's only 2nd and 4.
And one thing we've seen is North Catholic has struggled with some solid athletes before. We talked about, I believe it was Mike Smith of East Allegheny gave them fits, extending plays. Even Derry area, the number 24 for them, was really stuck out like a sore thumb on that team as a guy who was a true varsity player on an 0-10 team. A solid athlete, was able to make something out of nothing. So,
and on that play though, Avonworth goes backwards. It's now 3rd and 9. North Catholic, everybody got in the backfield there. I'm not sure what the Trojans drew up after they took a timeout, but it certainly worked on that play. Let's see if it can work again here. Sam is trying to get to the side. He puts his foot in the ground. He's tripped up by Mitch Lanthaler. He's short of the 1st down, but in this position in the first half, Avonworth went for it, so you would figure they're going to go for it here again on 4th and 3.
I mean, at this point, you almost have to sell out for Sam. Like, you almost have to assume number 1 isn't going to get the ball. You just follow whoever 24 is. I mean, in that case, he followed the jet motion. Before, he was kind of going up the middle. We saw a GT counter with it. And that last play, he followed the jet motion to that strength with the multiple tight ends in that play. So you just got to assume that 24 is going to keep the ball. I mean, I have trouble believing in a critical down he's going to give it up.
So let's see if Sam, you got a key on him. Can North Catholic get him? And Seamus Straub dives at him and makes the tackle. Seamus Straub catches Sam from behind this time. Great play by the North Catholic linebacker.
Yeah, that's, once again, you kind of have that pooling, moving play, stretch play. Sometimes really disrupt it. You have to have someone shoot a gap and be able to accelerate. And luckily for North Catholic, their strong side defenders were able to kind of stay strong, so Sam couldn't just burst to the outside. He kind of had to read the holes a little bit, and that bought him enough time for Seamus Straub to come make a play. So let's see if that's what they go back to when they get the offensive side of the ball again.
So now Avonworth has failed on a 4th down deep inside North Catholic territory twice, just as North Catholic has a low snap there, but Prentice is able to hold on to it and just get back to the line of scrimmage, which will be 2nd and 10 as we are at 8:30 left to play in the 3rd quarter.
Just like throwing the ball, snapping the ball in cold weather is hard. I mean, look at last week with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kendrick Green sails one over Mason Rudolph's head. So, it's easy for us to say these snaps got to be good, but it's still hard, especially when you have, like I've mentioned throughout the year, a big defensive lineman right in your face.
And that's Kevin Feltner, number 74, who maybe is the best lineman for Avonworth. Topinski, a little bit of room, running to his right, gets a good chunk of yardage to set up a 3rd and manageable. It's going to be a 3rd and 3 or 4. And this is a really crucial play as well, because this deep in your own territory, you're not going to go for it on 4th down. So if North Catholic does not get the 3 yards here, they're going to have to punt the ball, which Avonworth is then going to get a short field. North Catholic had the advantage of the field position the entire first half, and now with Avonworth having a good drive, even though it doesn't result in points, you're putting a lot of pressure on the North Catholic offense to at least flip the field. And so this is a crucial play. Topinski is going to be counted on to get those yards, and he's not going to do it. That's another great form tackle, would you say, Darren? Which
Yeah.
you were praising all first half by Avonworth.
Yeah, once again, you have a case of, you have to wrap up, have to make that play. This is a case, too. We're going to see the coaches. High school's a different monster altogether than, college or pros, because just the separation of athletic ability of some of these players. So usually I've mentioned it's all about getting your best athlete the ball. Are we going to see some coaches try to, maybe outsmart each other, maybe try to get the ball to someone else while everyone's kind of key on somebody? Who's the first person to really take that chance, or you just play conservatively, try to keep it, with your best playmaker over and over and over again? So
Daniel Long boots the ball away. It's a fair catch just inside midfield on the North Catholic side of the field. So Avonworth, great field position for their second drive, the second half. They're going to have it at the 48-yard line, I believe.
Now, let's see how this goes the second time around. Now, obviously the first half kind of caught them off guard. We saw North Catholic take that timeout. Can Avonworth do it again? And it looks like they're going back to a more traditional offense, which really surprises me that even when they kind of spread it out, Sam isn't on the field somewhere. But maybe that's the ability of some of the receivers. They trust they can give their top guy a little bit of a break.
And Biazzarelli has done he seems to be a pretty good player out there as well at running back. He's been good on the defensive side of the ball for them. He gets the ball, and he's met immediately by a wall of North Catholic players in the middle. So the traditional running play does not work for Avonworth.
Yeah, I mean, you figure there. I mean, Sam had, 5, 6, 7 consecutive carries? You got to give a guy a break at some point. So I'm curious to see if we'll see him again on this offensive drive, or there may be
at least one series of downs that they're going to go with Biazzarelli.
Because he also is, on the defensive side, he's shown great skill on the defensive backfield as well. So I mean, where do you want to give him a break at? So maybe it is this drive.
Let's see if Harper's going to try to do it through the air. He is. He's rolling to his left. He throws it, and the ball is a little bit short of the intended receiver, which I think was Gus Newhouse, number 8. And yes, that is who that was for Avonworth. Gus Newhouse, number 8, one of Avonworth's wide receivers. Has Avonworth completed a pass in this game, Darren?
Yes, I think at one point they had a short out at some point. But, I mean, when you have, once again, best athlete, as Woody Hayes once said, if you throw the ball, 3 things to happen and 2 are bad. Why not?
It's a throw again. Harper rolling, chucks it down the field, and that ball goes off the hands of Neo Miller. And that was a first down waiting to happen if Miller had been able to hold on to that one. And it looks like a North Catholic player is down on the sideline.
Looks to be Carson Laconey again. That'd be a huge blow if he can't continue. He doesn't look to be in a lot of pain, though. So it looks like maybe, hopefully, it's just a cramp. Dry air. People always think cramping in the heat, but you could easily cramp in the winter as well.
Yeah, there are some trainers working out on his leg, so maybe it is a cramp. Although you see the Avonworth players are down there all on their knees, which is a pretty good sign of sportsmanship from the Avonworth players. They probably know that Laconey got injured in that scrimmage again. And you never want to beat a team because of an injury. You want to go up against the other team's best. It doesn't look, it does look like they're stretching out that leg, so hopefully it's not a serious serious injury for Laconey.
Like they're doing a calf stretch there. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm also curious to see on this 4th down, being it's an obvious 4th and 10. Does North Catholic take a chance and put someone back to try to return a kick? Or do you are afraid of giving up a first down that you don't want, especially with one of your better cover corners out? Just take it where it is and work from there.
Yeah, it's a great question, Darren. I don't think North Catholic is going to have a kick returner on this play. I think that this is an area of the field where a fake punt could easily come. And they've even got like an offensive formation here. Biazzarelli is in the backfield with Harper. They've got 4 wide receivers. Although Straub is back he's back in a spot where he could backpedal and maybe catch it if it's a pooch punt. This is just really interesting to me that Avonworth is able to do this because of their quarterback.
There's the punt coming. So adjustment by Straub there.
And Straub, that was a good punt. They just don't want to give the North Catholic return game a chance at anything tonight. That one it wasn't just a pooch punt, it was a directional pooch punt where even though it didn't get inside the 20-yard line, North Catholic has still got a long way to go. I think that's at about it is right at the 20.
Sean, one thing I'm curious to see if Avonworth tries in the future. Obviously when they go for the punt, they give their quarterback, who's also their punter, he takes a couple steps back to buy himself some time. I'm kind of curious if they would consider taking a couple steps back, and when Straub bails back to try to return, try to throw the ball where Straub once was. Like a very kind of convoluted fake, per se.
Yeah, that would be something to keep an eye on. And anything that gets you a score in this game, could win you the game since we're still scoreless. Prentice gets a low snap. It's kind of a screen to Daniel Long. It's off Long's hands. Long taps his chest, says, "My bad." He thinks he should have caught that ball one-handed. Daniel Long, of course, thinks he can do it all, and he normally does. Great tight end, D lineman, punter, kicker for the Trojans. Second and 10. 5:34 left to play in the third quarter. We are scoreless here in a Wpil semifinal between Avonworth and North Catholic. North Catholic looking to get back to a Wpil championship game for the first time since 2013. Avonworth got there in 2019. Prentice has got a lot of room, and he throws it to Maziarz after looking away the defenders, and Maziarz is going to be brought down at the 42-yard line. Once again, Prentice making Avonworth pay with his legs there, really.
As a defensive back, you really can't ask them to cover more than like 6-7 seconds. At that point, it's, if you've ever played backyard football, it's hard to follow someone for that long. So at that point, you see a quarterback who can hurt you with his legs start to run. You might start breaking off your coverage to make sure he doesn't gash you on the ground. Those leads to those wide open receivers in the middle of the field.
Yeah, the Avonworth defenders looked like they moved up. The ball's on the ground briefly. Prentice gets it, and he throws what was, again, a pick six in waiting for Neo Miller. He just lofted it up there for Jack Fennell, who didn't really attack the ball. Maybe he didn't see the Avonworth player coming.
Yeah,
and
good play. And if this is the NFL, Neo Miller would have bought Avonworth 15 yards with a taunting call if you're watching the NFL at all. But this is high school. I think they let the young men's emotions go a little bit, and he was really celebrating a good play there. So also good news, you see Carson Laconi, I saw him rolling out his calf. He's continuing to stretch. It appears to be a cramp, so I foresee that we'll see him again in this game.
Second and 10, 5:13 to play. Prentice is looking to pass, and he throws it over. That's a beautiful throw to Tyler Maziarz. Maziarz deep in the secondary, inside the 35-yard line, down to the 32 or the 33. That was a beautiful passing play. Prentice, great protection. Maziarz broke at the right time, and Prentice put it exactly where he needed to.
Something people might not have noticed is, that defensive end was really starting to work on the blind side of Joey Prentice, kind of closing some distance, and Kyle Topinski comes in and hits a nice chip block to really help out and give Joey Prentice time to complete that pass.
And the next play for North Catholic is going to be a Topinski run up the middle. He barrels forward, legs churning, and he's not going to go to the ground, but his forward progress was stopped after a gain of probably 4 yards to set up a 2nd and 6. 4-yard gain on first down. That's probably a win for North Catholic.
Absolutely. Once again, it opens up the playbook. You have options now. So let's see where they go with this. Are you trying to make sure you don't do anything too crazy, play conservative, or are you trying to break through here?
And Avonworth may have jumped offside there, but no flag is forthcoming.
I have seen a lot less jumps, and this is from both sides, North Catholic and Avonworth, a lot less of jumps be called. So once again, I really think these officials are only calling egregious penalties.
Yeah, and on my end, I like that. I think the referees can be involved in the game as little as possible. Prentice looking to throw. He's got Straub open, throws it a little high, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 6 from Avonworth's 29-yard line.
The only thing that really makes you feel good, if this is a case where North Catholic might have to drive down the field to win if they are down, receivers are getting open. There's just a couple completed passes, maybe a couple lower throws, and we're talking about a lot different game here. So at least it's not like the receivers are totally blanketed, know where to work. So let's see how that plays out as the game goes on.
Yeah, Tyler Maziarz had 2 touchdowns last week receiving, and he's looked really good in this game, getting open on a lot of plays. Let's see if they look at Maziarz. He's split wide to the right. Instead, it's a handoff to Topinski. He's got a lot of room. And again, Liam Straub, it looked like, had that defensive back blocked, but Neo Miller sheds that block and, again, saves a touchdown because if Topinski gets by Miller there, he's got the speed to make it to the end zone.
It looked like just expecting pass by Avonworth defense and a little run up the middle, but once again, great form tackling. I actually popped my head in the Avonworth booth real quick and said, man, your defensive coordinator, give that man a raise because, I don't see good form tackling anymore. And these boys out there, they're doing great technical form tackling, and I love to see it.
And this time it's Topinski again. He is brought down by Biagirelli. We've called his name a lot tonight. He's been a really good from his linebacking position for Avonworth. Brandon Biagirelli, number 6.
And I'm kind of curious to see where we go here. Are we getting into Ethan Marsico's range? I don't see him warming up fully yet. I wonder if it's like inside the 10 they feel good about. Are we at 4 down territory still? Do they think if it's a 3rd and 3, maybe try to get points? Points at a premium. It's a tough decision. I do not envy Coach O'Shea in this position.
Prentice is looking to pass. He's looking to his right. Maziarz is open, and is he in the end zone? Did he catch the ball? And it looks like they're going to mark him down at the 1-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, there's no replay here in high school football. I don't know if the ball crossed the plane. I think his backside did, but I don't know if he himself crossed the plane. And then that brings another question here. There's no replay. The call is the call. I almost wonder if that can be considered a fumble.
I don't think I would say it can't be a fumble. If anything, it's an incomplete pass. He definitely didn't make any sort of football move after he caught it.
Yeah.
Like he caught it and was trying to fall back into the end zone. And Maziarz is down on the field right now. He got popped pretty good by an Avonworth defender right as he caught that ball, which I think jarred the ball loose.
I mean, I hate to say it, that's one of those cases, you hear a quarterback leaving their receiver out to drive, but, it's where the ball needed to be placed. You got to make those tough catches. You hope it's nothing serious for Maziarz. I mean, obviously he appears to be getting some assistance, but he's also walking under his own power. But that's the case with high school football is, if the call's on the field, the call on the field. You can't take a second look. So if you're worried the call might go the other way, worry no more because the ball's at the 1-yard line right now.
The ball is at the 1-yard line. And it's even inside the 1. That is as close as you can get to the end zone without putting the ball in the end zone there. So North Catholic is going to have 4 cracks at it from the 1-yard line. A lot of times we see Joey Prentice just sneak the ball in from here, and he is under center. But Kyle Topinski is back at the 7-yard line, so you could hand it to him too. But Prentice is trying to sneak in, and I think on the 2nd or 3rd effort he's going to get in. No, they're going to mark him down.
I mean, I foresee at least one more sneak attempt. Cut out the middleman on who's trying to get there. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, so why extend that line even further? This is always a hard thing too in high school football. Is when you just have all that pile of bodies, and did he break the plane? So you really got to find a way to bust yourself through.
And that time I think he gets in. At least that's what it looked like from up here.
I mean, his knee never touched. I don't know how you...
And a ref finally signals touchdown. North Catholic sideline. Players jumping up and down. The extra point team will run onto the field, and we have our first points of the game with 1:48 left in the 3rd quarter.
Sean, big extra point here. It's if Avonworth can somehow figure out a way to put the ball in the end zone and North Catholic misses this kick, that could be the game. 1 point, extra point could be the game here. So let's see the protection from North Catholic and the kick from Marsico. He's been cold, so let's see how he does.
Snap, good, kick up, and it looks like it's right through the uprights, and that is a successful extra point for Ethan Marsico.
Flag on the play, though, so. Trying to decipher if it looks like North Catholic doesn't seem pleased. So it looks like it's going to be a personal foul. So Avonworth should have some good field position coming in this drive.
But the extra point probably will still stand. Yeah, you're exactly right, Darren. It is a personal foul that will be assessed on the kickoff. So North Catholic is going to be kicking from a lot further back, which is going to give Avonworth, as you said, probably good field position.
Now you have to ask the question, do you kick it deep into their athletes, or do you forgo and realize you're not going to have great field position no matter what? Do you attempt to just squib it and put it in someone else's hands that maybe not quite the athlete as number 1 or number 24.
Yeah, 1 is Neo Miller. 24 is their running back, Ian Sam. I would anticipate North Catholic putting this ball on the ground. I don't think they're going to kick it deep to Sam or Miller, but let's see what happens. North Catholic has broken the 0-0 tie, the deadlock at 1:48 of the third quarter. Joey Prentice, a 1-yard QB sneak.
And let's not forget, Sean, sorry to cut you off, on these special teams plays, a lot of these guys aren't playing both ways. A lot of these guys are coming into the game cold. And trust me, when it's cold like this, you don't feel like an athlete walking into this game if you haven't been playing. So let's see, kicking on the ground, there might be a fumble possibility here.
Long kicking from his own 25. He is going to boot it deep, but he's also going to boot it out of bounds, which isn't the worst thing in the world because Avonworth's going to get the ball at the 40-yard line, and you figure that Sam would have gotten to at least a 40 on the kickoff.
Is it 40 or 35 in high school?
I guess it is 40 in the NFL. I keep thinking.
They're choosing to re-kick it. I didn't know you could re-kick it. I thought you just had to accept the penalty.
Huh. I didn't know that either. So North Catholic is going to re-kick because the kick was out of bounds, and now they're kicking from their 20-yard line. This is the spot you would see a safety kick normally, or is a safety, if you get a safety, is the free kick from a safety even ahead of the 20?
I don't even know for sure, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do here. You kind of just hope it's not try to cut down the big return, hopefully somehow, some way keep it on behind the 50 at this point. And not to mention, the guys just ran down the field. They're a little tired, so you got to worry about a big play potential here.
And Daniel Long called everybody in and told them something, and I bet he told them that he's going to put it on the ground here. And it is a squib kick. It almost hits an Avonworth player, and it rolls right to Sam. Sam is going to try to get up to the 50. He's going to try to sprint it out wide. It looks like he has an edge, but he is forced out of bounds right around midfield. That's about the best result that North Catholic could have hoped for there. And Avonworth, for the second time in this half, starts with excellent field position at midfield.
Yeah, once again, it's best athlete on the field has the ball. Good job of pursuit, pitching him to the sideline. Now I'm curious to see, does Avonworth go back to the traditional offense, or do they go back with Sam on the field trying to carry the load? And I don't see him in the backfield again, so maybe they're really trying to, they feel it might come down to a one-drive game and trying to keep them fresh for that last drive possibly.
Yeah, and I mean, he just returned the kickoff, so he's clearly not injured. He's wandering around on the sideline, maybe lobbying to get back in the game, but it's a pass play, and Harper hits number 4, Peyton Feltner, and that's going to be a first down. And that gets the Avonworth sideline, and the Avonworth fans excited. Feltner is a big wide receiver. He is 6'3", 210 pounds. He's only a junior. His brother, Trevor, plays for Air Force. So, again, an athletic family. Trevor played on the Avonworth team that went to the state finals in 2019. Let's see if they think they have something with Feltner. We'll see if they go back to him. Feltner is being covered by Laconey, who is back in the game. Harper looking to Feltner, and Laconey dives on him more quickly, but it is another completed play for about 5 or 6 yards.
We've seen this a lot from teams against North Catholic. The most successful way to pass the ball against North Catholic is those quick hitting routes. You can't really sit back and let that pass rush get to you. So we'll probably see a continuation of these quick routes, and what those quick routes do also is it sets up the double move. So keep your eye open for maybe a deep attempt in a play or two off maybe a hitch and go or something like that.
And this time it's going to be a QB sneak that goes
ball
nowhere, and the ball's on the ground, and North Catholic has it, or are they going to say that, yes, North Catholic has the ball? And I think that was the Tyler Primrose who recovered the fumble.
Who was that on the sack?
I couldn't even see. I thought it was just a QB sneak, and the ball popped out.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was joking with Daniel Long. I'm like, I haven't seen you do a strip sack all year. And he said, I had one. I'm like, well, I haven't seen it. So I don't remember seeing it. So now's a good time to see one. So I don't know if it was Daniel Long himself, but finally a break, a turnover for this North Catholic defense. Let's see if at the stage of this game, if they could somehow put another 7 on the board, that might put it out of reach.
So Avonworth driving deep in North Catholic territory with a turnover. Let's see if the Trojans can capitalize. It's going to be a handoff to Topinski, and he's got room to run. He's going to get close to a first down before he's thrown out of bounds at about the 36-yard line.
I mean, I'm quite confident North Catholic, with their play calling, is in no rush. They are going to run the ball at least once per 3 sets of downs. They pretty much have to stick it out for 1 quarter. They're okay doing 3 yards in a cloud of dust over and over and over again. They play with the lead now. So I'm foreseeing a lot of Kyle Topinski, Joey Prentice runs in the near future, especially with Tyler Maziar's. One of their receivers really getting open today. Is still a little banged up.
I think he's back out on the field, though, and Prentice is just going to fall forward with a QB sneak to probably get a first down, and he kept running. I guess he never thought his knee touched the ground.
It's like the old Madden play. Sometimes you call a QB sneak on 1st and 10 and get 6 yards.
First down for North Catholic, and I would be stunned if they ran a play here before the 3rd quarter is up. We are under 10 seconds now in the 3rd quarter. North Catholic is going to go to the 4th quarter with a 7-0 lead, and they are 1 quarter away from a trip to Heinz Field. But Avonworth certainly is within striking distance. And so our score at the end of 3 quarters, with 12 minutes to play in this Wpil4a semifinal, is North Catholic 7, Avonworth nothing. Each of these teams has excellent stats. Avonworth averages 32.7 points per game, which is 3rd in 3A. North Catholic averages 43.7 points per game, which is 2nd in 3A. And points against, they're also both really good. Avonworth is 9.5, which is 4th in 3A, and North Catholic is 8.4, which is 3rd in 3A. That number was under 6 until last week when Keystone Oaks put up 41 points. The defensive transformation is amazing. North Catholic gave up 41 points last week to Keystone Oaks, and Avonworth beat Keystone Oaks 35-0 in a game this year, and North Catholic now has held Avonworth scoreless.
Yeah, the one thing you really see at this 3A level is there's a big gap, the haves and have-nots. The top 4 teams in the WPIAL, I know Elizabeth Ford, last time I checked, is down by over 30 to Central Valley, but even they were averaging at least a 3 touchdown point spread per game. So you really do see the 4 best teams right now in the semifinals.
Yep. And we'll see who the 2 best teams are heading into next week at Heinz Field. It's going to be, again, I think it was noon on November 27th is going to be the championship game. Yep, noon, November 27th. The winner of this game will play the winner of Central Valley and Elizabeth Forward.
So I'm curious to see, with 1 quarter left, obviously you can't simply just run out the clock, but I am curious to see how Coach O'Shea and his offensive coordinator attack this drive. Like, are they trying to go for that dagger, or are they putting some faith in their defense, playing conservatively, and going for the field position battle here, try to make Avonworth drive the length of the field on them. Avonworth has had some shorter fields and hasn't been able to capitalize.
Prentice is under center, and it's going to be handoff to Topinski again. He's barreling up the middle, but is tackled again. That time it's Biagirelli.
Sean, if I was a betting man, if I could wager on my telephone on a River Sportsbook or something along those lines, I would wager that this is going to be either a screen or a draw play here. You want to try to get the ball in the hand of one of your best athletes, but keep it safe. If you punt, you're hopefully pinning them inside their own 40, making them at least have to drive a little bit. So let's see what they go with here.
And it is Liam Straub in motion. It's going to be a fake, and then Prentice is just ad-libbing, and he's going to be sacked just outside the 36-yard line. That looked like a real broken play, but that's a play that it looked bad, but I think it's kind of a winning play almost for North Catholic, because in the past, if that play happens, you see maybe Joey Prentice try to do too much.
I think junior year Joey Prentice forces that pitch when it's covered.
And then it could be like...
You want Avonworth at this point to earn that touchdown. So with that said, I think they try to catch him napping with a little bit of emotion, a little triple option out of, on a 3rd and long. But
Long boots it away. It's a pretty good kick. Fair caught again, and it's going to take a little bit of a North Catholic bounce inside the 30-yard line, down to the 27.
Small gamble by Camity paying off. A lot of high school guys would just catch that ball in the air. I'm not sure if he could read the bounce or was just guessing, but he bought this North Catholic defense about an extra 3 to 4 yards.
Good play from Gavin Camedy, who's going to, it looks like, stay out there to be a safety. So North Catholic playing with 2 safeties, maybe anticipating a more passing-oriented attack from Avonworth. But instead, Avonworth is going to go back to that Wildcat that we saw to great success. It's Ian Sam in place of the quarterback. And this time he gives the ball off, and Miller is going to spin his way up the middle for 4 yards.
Good play call there by Avonworth. I mean, it's only about a 4-yard gain, which still on a first down is a win. But, I'm sure North Catholic was thinking Sam's taking the ball again. So let's see if they're napping. Let's put it in the hands of another one of their athletes and see if, you could maybe gash a big play there.
Miller in motion again, and Sam is going to run it. And this time he's darts up the middle quickly. He's going to get 4 or 5 yards.
Sean, these plays look sloppy. I hate to say that the effective play looks sloppy, but really, this is just the Avonworth offensive line getting a push. The mesh point is off. The timing's off. It doesn't look convincing that they're going to hand the ball off, but the Avonworth offensive line and those big tight ends are just moving people forward, and that's what's getting them some yardage right now.
And there the snap is at his ankles, and yet he still bursts, dives through 3 or 4 North Catholic players, does Sam, and he's very, very close to the first down, but he's going to be maybe half a yard short.
I wonder if Sam can throw the ball, because if there was ever a time to, if you're going for it, I know it seems like North Catholic's going to be selling out this play to stop the run. If you could just throw any type of pass.
I don't know, on a 4th and 1, I feel like you've got to be confident that you can get a 1-yard run from Sam here. Let's see if he can. He's just going to sprint, and North Catholic had people in the backfield, but Sam breaks free for a big gain. He's inside the 50-yard line where he's brought down by Topinski. Great run from Ian Sam.
Yeah, I think, once again, they simplified that Wildcat play. Instead of, the bells and whistles of motion, they're just, hey, put your hand in the dirt, everybody block, and let's get one. And it paid off actually a big gain there.
It looked like North Catholic could have had him in the backfield, but he used his great speed to get around 2 defenders and then just darted forward for 20 yards. Here he is again, running up the middle behind that big offensive line, and falls forward for, again, a good gain on first down, 3 to 4 yards.
I mean, I hate to say it, if you're Avonworth, why run another play? If you could march down the field 4 yards at a time, you're probably going to give North Catholic maybe 2 minutes left. I mean, that's if, of course, you don't break a big one. And then you could tie this game up because, I mean, there's outside of the one stop, it hasn't been consistent stopping from North Catholic.
Sam is going to step his way forward for about 2 yards this time. And the other thing here is that Avonworth down by a touchdown as we get closer to the midpoint of the 4th quarter. You're in 4-down territory now. Ian Sam, it feels like, is going to get 10 yards if you give him 4 cracks at it from the wild back position.
He needs a little bit of rest right now, and do you blame him, man? How many consecutive runs? And once again, there's some big people on that North Catholic defense he's having to run into play after play after play. It's one of those things that is maybe that's enough to just get their engine moving a little bit, and they could go back to a traditional offense. And once again, maybe if they get a little closer, go back to it.
So 3rd and 5. Harper in the shotgun. He's got 4 wide receivers, and Biagirelli in the backfield with him. And Avonworth, in this crucial play, is going to call a timeout to either maybe give Sam a rest and put him back in there, or call an important play here on 3rd and 5 with 7:20 left to go in the 4th quarter.
I know their short passing game has found some success too, but I feel like you have to squeeze one more play out of Sam, just even as a diversion. If he's on the field, you have to consider him. You have to account for him. So I'll be very surprised if Sam isn't on the field. And kudos to Avonworth's coaches if they have the faith that they're deep enough athletically, if their skill positions to let him rest on this critical 3rd down. But once again, it's 4-down territory possibly. They might give him the rest and okay, 4th down, get back in there.
So North Catholic up 7 points. 7:20 to go. North Catholic up late in this game, trying to get to Heinz Field for the first time since 2013. North Catholic 1-11 in Wpil4a Semifinals. Avonworth overall is 2-2. So this would be a big breakthrough for North Catholic and Coach O'Shea if they can hold the lead for the last 7:20.
I don't know about you, Sean. This feels like the drive that's going to decide the game. If Avonworth can somehow get points, I feel this might give them enough confidence to come away. And if North Catholic get a stop, this could
Harper's going to throw. He's rolling to his right. And he's just going to jog out of bounds for a 1 or 2 yard loss and live to fight another day. And that sets up a 4th and 7.
I mean, you're at the point now where, this has probably been your biggest sustained drive. North Catholic, as we've seen, has only put 7 points on the board. It's probably not that dangerous of a call to just go for it at this point.
You also have Harper, your quarterback / punter, is there, and he could pin North Catholic very deep, and then you've got to sell out if you're Avonworth on that possession to get a short field. And Harper is going to throw the ball over the middle, and it's Laconey again. Laconey says no.
What a play. I mean, your heart breaks for a kid like that when, his senior year, he has this broken collarbone, can't play, can't, go under those lights. But, man, it puts a smile on your face when you see a big play like this and, helping his team hopefully reach Heinz Field. And, he might only play 4 games, but those are a memorable, 3 games. 3 games he might get. So, making the most of your opportunity there on the field. Now, this is a huge drive. If North Catholic can just, anyway, at this point, put points on the board, I think that might be it. And if they could just really shave some time off and make, Avonworth go 80, 85 yards, that could be just huge for the outlook of this game, because Avonworth's most successful has been on the ground, which takes time.
And Topinski is going to struggle forward for 3 yards. That's perfectly fine with North Catholic. That's going to take even more time off. We're under 7 minutes now. Avonworth is in, as Darren has repeated, for a steady dose of Tyle Topinski in this 4th quarter. But credit to Avonworth. They have done a masterful job of tackling Topinski, not letting him break through tackles, not letting him fall forward for 3 or 4 yards.
I mean, it appears just from up here in the booth, Avonworth has some good size in the front 7, so that definitely helps with dealing with that.
Here's a play fake, a deep shot down the field. Jack Fennell is wide open, and a great defensive play from number 23 that time on Avonworth, Ezra Tomko. Fennell was in the flat all alone. The ball was slightly underthrown, and Tomko raced back and knocked that ball away.
With this heavy dose of Kyle Topinski, kind of trying to milk the clock, there was going to be that play-action shot that you hope you could hit. If there's just a little bit more error on the ball, let Fennell run a little bit more, that might be 6 right there. But great job by the Avonworth defensive back, staying with the play, running it down, getting a hand, and breaking up that big play.
Ezra Tomko, touchdown, game-saving play perhaps for Avonworth if they could stage a comeback. Nobody's going to catch Jack Fennell when he has that much separation with defenders. And it's going to be a handoff to Topinski, and he's caught pretty quickly, that time by number 51 for Avonworth. And I'm going to have to get you his name from my roster. Jermaine Woods, who also plays center for the Avonworth offensive line, gets in there making good defensive play for the Antelopes, and North Catholic is going to have to punt.
Once again, it's just playing the field battle. You're hopefully forcing Avonworth to go 70, 75 yards, make them earn those plays.
There's the punt from long. It's high, and it's also very out of bounds.
Let's see where they spot this. Keep walking, keep walking, keep walking. Wow. Okay, so they're forcing
65 yards Avonworth needs to go to tie this game in 5:41. That's certainly plenty of time, but the way that they have moved the ball, the most effective way has been with Sam in the Wildcat position as quarterback, and that's going to take a long time.
And it looks like Sam isn't on the field, so they might be having enough faith in a short passing game to get within the 30 and maybe let Sam carry them the rest of the way, save a little time if they need to take some time.
So the Avonworth passing game needs to get maybe 20 or 30 yards here before they're going to trust Sam to try to get him the rest of the way. So what can Nate Harper do? His receivers out there are Neo Miller and Peyton Feltner to his right, and Gus Newhouse, and I can't see who the slot receiver is on our near side. It's going to be number 29, and the throw is outside to Faulkner. He catches it and then falls forward across the 40-yard line. Good gain on first down for Avonworth.
Sean, you have to figure this is probably either the last or second to last possession Avonworth will have. I mean, they do have 2 timeouts, so if North Catholic does get the ball back, they can't stop the clock, but they're running out of opportunities here to put some points on the board.
The other wide receiver for Avonworth is Tyler Slice. Harper gets it. Looks like a little bit of a broken play. Harper is rolling out. He throws it short of his receiver. That was Gus Newhouse. Third and 3 with 5 minutes and 3 seconds left. Crucial play here for Avonworth. You figure they would go for it on 4th down since they went for it just on the other side of the 50.
I mean, when Sam is on the field, you almost have to assume Peyton Faulkner's getting the ball on a short route here.
He is going to look towards Feltner, and Feltner is well covered by both Topinski and Laconey, and they're probably going to get Topinski for hitting him early.
I don't know, Sean. I mean, that's a tough call. You haven't been calling it all game. That's a real tough call to make. If you want to let these guys play, let them play. But there was some traffic in the middle. That could easily go either way. That's a real tough call right there. That's all I can say about that.
Topinski, I don't think, thought it was a penalty. And there is no foul for pass interference. The refs they huddle up, they talk about it, and they don't see a foul on that play.
I said when you're letting the kids play, you're letting the kids play. So this is kind of a do or die play. I am just floored right now that Sam isn't on the field somehow, some way, shape, or form. I know maybe he's just simply your runner, but a weapon like that, you have to think about using him to.
And instead, it's 4 wide receivers, and they're looking for Feltner. He catches it. He needs to get 1 or 2 yards, and he does. He just gets to the 45-yard line. So it looks like for Avonworth, if it's not going to be Sam, the person that they want to get the ball to is Peyton Feltner. And they gave it to him 2 or 3 yards shy of the first down and said, "You're 6'3", 180 pounds. You need to be able to get those last 2 or 3 yards," and he does.
Yeah, Avonworth, much like North Catholic, they have a couple offensive weapons that could really,
And this time it's Brandon Biazzarelli just dragging defenders forward with a 13-yard run. North Catholic, I think, had been so used to Avonworth passing every single play that Sam was not in there, that Biazzarelli was able to take advantage of that and get down the field.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that was his first touch of the game. I mean, he's pretty much been just a blocking fullback.
Biazzarelli has had, I think, 2 or 3 carries in addition. The other times when Sam went out, there's a timeout. I didn't see who that was for.
North Catholic.
North Catholic timeout. They're second and a half. They have 1 left remaining. 4:34 left. What do you think the purpose of this North Catholic timeout is, Darren?
I mean, just kind of regroup for a second. Kind of maybe talk to them. Hey, if you see this, expect this. If you see that Wildcat, line up like this. If you see them going to traditional offense, line up like this. Hey, we think number 4 is going to be their best target, so maybe let's adjust him this way. It's looking more and more like this is going to be Avonworth's last possession. They're probably in 4-down territory. Unless they score very quickly and gain a lot of yards quickly, they've been kind of going a moderate pace down the field. So you got to make sure your team's ready for this last drive. This is kind of where the season's made right now.
Ian Sam still not on the field. It's Nate Harper with Biazzarelli in the backfield and 4 wide receivers, 2 to his right and 2 to his left. On the left side here, we have Feltner. He's being guarded by Laconey. And it's going to be a handoff to Biazzarelli again. And again, he has a lot of room to run, and he gets a 5 or 6 yard gain down to the 36-yard line of North Catholic.
Sean, I mean, it's effective once again catching him off guard, but we're almost getting to the point now where you might not be able to use that Wildcat formation if you so choose. I mean, yes, you have 2 timeouts, but we're just about to be under 4 minutes here. So, running the ball, if it's not a first down, takes a lot of time off the clock.
And that's a great point, as it was about 4:30, and now we're going to be inside 4 minutes before this play is run. And it's going to be a handoff to Biazzarelli again, and there's a huge hole, and he burst forward to the 25-yard line, a first down for Avonworth. What is Avonworth seeing that they've gone to Biazzarelli 3 times now?
I mean, I'm seeing a 3-man front out there for North Catholic. They're really expecting the pass, putting some speedy guys in the field. So maybe they need to kind of put a little heavier front back in there to, try to counteract this up the middle runs, because you really want to make Avonworth take their time. I mean, if Avonworth gets another chunk play, they might be in the ballpark of using that enough time to use that Wildcat with timeouts. So you want to kind of force them to take their time down the field with this traditional offense.
And this time, Biazzarelli is stood up after about a 2-yard gain.
I feel at this point a play-action pass might be coming soon with Biazzarelli. It's North Catholic, I think, subbed in a little bit of a heavier package to kind of deal with that. So you might have a little bit less in the pass coverage department.
Let's see if that's what happens. Harper is going to look to the sideline. Biazzarelli is with him in the backfield. Feltner and Slice are to his left. I think Miller and Newhouse are to his right. And this time it's going to be a pass. It's a quick pass to Newhouse. And a broken tackle. But Johnny on the spot there is Tyler Cannon to prevent a touchdown. And that was actually not Gus Newhouse. That was number 2 for Avonworth, Colin Crawford. Another Avonworth wide receiver in the game. North Catholic playing well off of Crawford, got him the first down. Avonworth threatening to score. 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line. North Catholic wants to talk it over again.
I mean, North Catholic, I guess, is going all in on this final stop and being able to hopefully run out the clock, because that was their final timeout. So if Avonworth was to score, they're going to have to move very quickly down the field and utilize the sideline to possibly get in scoring position. So Coach O'Shea and staff are thinking this is the do-or-die drive right here.
And I'm sure Avonworth is thinking the same way. This is going to be a fascinating 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Because North Catholic, you have so many different things that Avonworth has now shown you on this drive. They've shown you Harper with quick hitters to Feltner, and on that play Crawford, and then Biazzarelli also running the ball up the gut when you start thinking pass, and he's got big holes for him. Or Avonworth can always go back to Ian Sam, who's been on the sideline this entire drive, and when he's been in there and Wildcat has been able to push the ball down the field. So Avonworth has a lot of options to get these last 14 yards, but North Catholic needs to make a stand.
You know, Sean, it's been about 10 years, but I'm trying to, at this point, the way Avonworth's kind of operating, you kind of feel momentum going their way. I'm almost wondering, what are the overtime rules for high school football? I believe it's each team starts at the 25. So that might be something you might have to see moving forward here.
Yeah, and I mean, Avonworth could also go for 2 points if they want to risk it all. You've got Sam in that Wildcat formation.
If he goes, that's the bravest coach in WPIAL, because if it doesn't work, there's going to be a whole lot of egg in your face.
And Harper is going to do a QB sneak. He's got a little bit of room before he's met and pushed backwards by, I think that was Robbie Kress with a great tackle. And he's tackled inbounds, so the clock is going to keep running. 2nd and 9,
this is
and
a big
we're
play
winding
here.
Closer to 2 minutes.
Big play here. This will really decide what Avonworth can do. If North can somehow keep him into a 3rd and 8+, that'd be huge, because they are in 4-down territory at this point.
Harper motioning Biazzarelli into the slot, so he's going to be on the backfield on his own here. It's either going to be a QB sneak or a run. Harper now wants to change the play again. They're under 10 seconds to get a play off, and they're really using up a lot of time here. We're under 2 minutes. Harper has 3 seconds to get off the snap. He does. He looks for the slant. It's intercepted! Intercepted by Mitch Lanthaler, and he's got a lot of field in front of him. He's at midfield. 2 Avonworth players to beat. A stutter step move doesn't work, but he gets to the 40-yard line.
What a read by Mitch Lanthaler. Already a defensive touchdown this year. Outside linebacker covering the flat on that slant. You got to know who your athletes are. You know they're going to go to number 4. Mitch, big target as a linebacker himself, steps in front of that. You got to take gambles in the high school game of who's getting the ball. That's a gamble there. That's a playing off. So barring one of the worst breakdowns we've seen since South Park game, it appears that North Catholic is in position to make it very difficult for Avonworth to get the ball back.
Yeah, at this point in the game, 1:42 left in the 4th quarter. If you get a first down, Lanthaler has just sealed the game with that interception. But you do have to get a first down. You need clean snaps, and I love that Prentice is under center. That eliminates the bad shotgun snap that has hurt them a couple times. Joey just has to get the ball, and you put it in Kyle Topinski's hands. And Topinski's going to try to bounce it to the outside. It looks like he has a little bit of room. He's barreling into a defender, and we've got a flag.
Smart move, staying in bounds. Once again, it's tempting, and as a defense, if they're smart, you allow that option, right? You allow them a way to stop the clock. So a lot of these North Catholic offensive players need to be wise, and if they're getting near the sideline, just go down. The clock's your friend at this point. So, but a holding penalty kind of negates any positive plays in that. So, Sean, I'm a big fan of Bill Cower, who was a disciple of Marty Schottenheimer. You ever hear the term Marty Ball?
I've heard the term, but you're going to have to explain to me what it means.
It's extremely conservative football. You pass to run, you pass long to run shorter, or pass short to run long. But basically, you get up and then you play extremely conservative, run the ball in the second half. I'm running 3 Kyle Topinski runs up the field if I'm the offensive coordinator. But once again, I'm not paid to be an offensive coordinator. I'm just here to talk. But I'm making Avonworth use those timeouts. I'm making Avonworth, use any time that possibly could be shaven off. You figure 3 plays will get you about 20 seconds off. That gives them a minute with no timeouts to get down the field.
Prentice under center again. He turns and hands the ball to Lipinski, and the ball's on the ground. And Avonworth falls on it. And you said a repeat of the South Park game. And this, hopefully it doesn't get to that point for North Catholic. But North Catholic in that game a couple years ago, they needed the first down to win. They couldn't do it. They fumbled the ball, and they turned it over. And there was an Avonworth player. I didn't get his number. He got in the backfield so fast that he just disrupted everything.
That was Avonworth's defensive line causing that turnover. And, man, you have momentum. At this point with this team, man, you almost just run 3 QB sneaks. I mean, just eliminate the possibility of error. Just kill the clock and make them earn it.
And Harper is going to have to throw the ball a lot on this drive. He's rolling out. He chucks it to a wide-open Slice. Slice catches it at the 20, and he walks into the end zone. And Avonworth scores a 44-yard touchdown.
And I
There's
think
a flag
this one
back
might
at
be coming
midfield.
back.
This is a really important penalty call. Avonworth, if the play stands, has just scored a 44-yard touchdown. Wow. It's a holding call on the Avonworth offense. I was just watching the quarterback. I didn't even see Slice come open. I don't know if you were watching the line.
Dodging the bullet there, North Catholic. They need to play sound defensively. Avonworth has timeouts, so they can take their time. But you do not keep plays under 20 yards, under 10 if you can.
Slice was just all by himself at the 30-yard line. No one was within 20 yards of him. That was a very easy 44-yard touchdown that now gets wiped out, and it becomes a 1st and 25? I thought it was a holding call.
It's from the spot.
From the spot of the holding call. Thank you to our production director, John Hoffman. Harper again is going to throw. He's looking for space, and he's just going to run out of bounds. And honestly, I'm surprised there's not a flag after that devastating holding call.
When you're laying out for a tackle, and the tackle was initiated in bounds, laying out, sometimes you can't control your body on the way down. So, I don't know if that's on the hit or if that's on the Avonworth coaches. Because that was a really late foul if you want to call a late hit.
Yeah, that was at least 10 seconds after the play. It may be on the Avonworth coaches. Did Avonworth have a sideline warning earlier in the game?
I don't think the Avonworth coaches were happy with the non-call there, and then they've cost their team 15 more. At this point, you got to assume that if you're you almost wish you were a coach for North Catholic and had that timeout. Just play back, let Daniel Long, Tyler Primrose, Lucius Marbella just rush, take their time. And high school offensive lines aren't always the great at maintaining their blocks, so just don't get burnt deep.
It's 2nd and forever, 2nd and 42. Avonworth would have to get all the way to the 35-yard line of North Catholic, and they're back at their own 23. It's going to be a screen play, and the pass is errant, and Neo Miller can't catch it, and that brings up 3rd and 42.
Sean, at this point, just let him get 10 yards. Let him get 10 yards at this point. Don't be a hero. Don't try to make the big play. Make the smart play. It's a 3rd and 42. They literally need to get 21 yards of play for the next 2 plays.
Yeah, if you're a North Catholic defender, you have to just keep your wide receiver in front of you. You can give them a 30-yard cushion, and it will still be a 3rd and more than 10 yards. So you can't let anybody behind you. Let Daniel Long, Lucius Marbella, Tyler Primrose bother the quarterback, maybe get a sack. Just stay
if I'm those
stay
coaches,
in front of the receiver.
Watch the lateral. Watch the hook and ladder. because that's one, they've been utilizing those hitches all game. So it wouldn't be crazy to see number 4, Feltner, catch the ball and maybe try to lateral back to Miller. So you're thinking draw, screen, or probably trick play. I just don't foresee them dropping back and chucking it. I think they're going to try to get something safe at this point to try to just get something back. The draw would be real bold choice, even with some of the big runs. I mean, I think the long run today for the draw has been 20 yards, so you still need to get 20 off that. Your screen and your trick player where you're going to get, 25, 30 yards to make this into a third and manageable.
You mean a fourth and manageable?
Excuse me, fourth and
Yeah,
manageable.
third and 42. Avonworth is lining up. As I said, we've had a wild last 2:40 of this game. Avonworth was looking like they were going to get into the end zone, and they tried to convert a third down with a slant to Peyton Feltner that was intercepted. And there's a throw over the middle. It's caught by Biazzarelli, and he's going to run forward. He's still not being able to be tackled. He gets to the 50-yard line, which is only it's still not even back to the original sticks. And Avonworth is going to call a timeout to set up a 4th and 16, which is amazing that they got to 4th and 16 from 3rd and 42.
Yeah, another tough decision by the defensive coordinator here. Like, how conservative do you want to play this? Are you just like you putting 4 or 5 guys at the first down marker and playing the sticks? Are you
3 seconds are added to the clock?
Are you okay? Because I mean, Avonworth is out of timeout, so every time after the ball is spot, the clock will start. Are you just like 15 yards is okay? Obviously you don't want to give them the first down, but were you willing to sacrifice a first down to play over the top? Now, I mean, if it's me, I'm putting 4 or 5 guys at the sticks. Don't let anyone run by you. I would try to end this game right here. As much as you might want to be conservative with the clock, there's still a lot of time with clock stoppages on first down. You got to, play conservative but not too conservative. Hopefully you see the defensive line of North Catholic getting a little bit of push. Now would be a really big play. But the thing is here, they're probably going to scramble out on this play. Don't break down. Let him run. Let him run. He has to run 15 yards. Once he breaks that line of scrimmage, let him go.
And North Catholic is going to pressure him. He's moving forward. He throws it. It's caught, but it's going to be short. Even if he caught it, it's going to be short. He caught it a yard short. That was Neo Miller. And North Catholic gets the ball. Neo Miller was a yard short of the first down.
Sean, with this team, I don't even trust a kneel down snap. So I'm not counting this as a win until that clock hits 0.
And what a wonderful pressure from that 3-man rush from North Catholic. That forced Harper to scramble much earlier than he wanted to, and he had to throw that ball when he did because he was going to run across and become a runner instead of a passer.
What a time to really, make that inside move. Daniel Long's been using that outside pressure, and he decides, I'm going to shift inside and really go in the face of this interior line. So what a time just to play, and we almost thought it was the same song and dance there for a second, ripping defeat from the jaws of victory. And, maybe the boogeyman's been slayed for the first time in this program's history. And what a time to do it before North Catholic, moves up to the new adventure of Quad A football next year. So what a way to end their history at the AAA level by finally, overcoming themselves to a degree and winning this game, and all the credit in the world to Avonworth, who's...
Yeah, certainly not overcoming just themselves. Avonworth played a great game tonight, especially defensively. They, as you said in the first half, they had a lot of bend but do not break. They stood up when they needed to on key 4th downs. They got a couple fumble turnovers, and it looked like for all the world they were going to get in again after a North Catholic key fumble late after the Lanthal interception, and they scored a touchdown. But it came back because of a holding penalty. And then there was a personal foul for unsportsmanlike conduct, and that set up a 3rd and 42. And still, they gained 41 of those 42 yards.
Yeah.
That's how close this game was. Avonworth put forward a really valiant effort tonight. And unless the snap suddenly
I believe Avonworth called their last time out.
Unless it snapped through everyone and goes into the end zone, this is going to be the last play. Joey Prentice is a kneel down away from getting North Catholic to Heinz Field. And there it is. The North Catholic Trojans are going to represent in the WPIAL Class 3 championship game. North Catholic sideline running on the field. A lot of good sportsmanship also between the offensive and defensive lines that have gone at each other's throats all game here. Hugs, handshakes, high fives between those two teams. Really good sportsmanship from these two rivals, and North Catholic wins 7-0.
Absolutely amazing game. You know, when the seeding came out, there was a lot of questions like how did Avonworth, with 2 losses, being a conference runner-up, get that 3rd seed? You know, that doesn't seem fair. You know, it should be the 3 conference seed champions as their 1, 2, 3 seeds. But, you know, this game, Avonworth pushing the number 2 seed, North Catholic, to its absolute limit. Just an amazing effort by both teams. And Sean, another shutout for this North Catholic defense at one of the most opportune times, going from 41 points to 0 within a span of a week. And let's be honest, Avonworth was a big step up in competition from Keystone Oaks.
Yeah, the defense, they solved their issues. They were really good pass defense tonight. Maybe they caught a break with that holding penalty, what would have been a touchdown to Tyler Slice. But North Catholic does get the shutout, and they're moving on next week to Heinz Field to play for a Wpil4a championship game against, we presume, Central Valley, who was up big on Elizabeth Ford. That's going to be a really, really tall task, but you don't really have to think about that until maybe we move into next week. You can really just sit back, relax, and enjoy on what is a great accomplishment for North Catholic. They've had a really hard time getting past the semifinals in this 3A division, and they finally got it, beating a rival school in Avonworth. And Avonworth had a lot of great games tonight. Nate Harper, their quarterback, led some valiant drives there at the end. Brandon Biazzarelli may have been the player of the game for Avonworth. He was a monster on defense, lots of great tackles, and then some huge runs that pushed Avonworth close to scoring in the 4th quarter. Ian Sam, same thing, running the ball. This Avonworth team is really good, and they've got some juniors coming back next year. They're really going to miss Ian Sam, and then a couple players from the offensive line and defensive line, including Kevin Feltner. But hats off to Avonworth.
Yeah,
for a really
and
great
really
game.
hats off to their coaching. I mean, I've been touching on this all day. Just the ability to, you know, good technical football. I mean, outside of maybe was it 1 interception, you know, they played an absolutely clean game, and you saw adjustments and new schemes throughout the game by the Avonworth coaching staff. You know, basically tinkering until they've had success. It just couldn't quite come together as a whole for that score, and you know, the one score they had, sadly brought back by holding call. So the Avonworth program, you know, stepping up the AAA and, you know, making the semifinals, and there's a good chance you'll see this team again next year in the semifinals, if not the finals. I mean, they are an amazingly well-coached team, and I tip my hat to Avonworth in this game.
Yeah, so Avonworth does fall, though, 7-0. Here's your scoring recap. It's going to be really short. At 1:48 of the 3rd quarter, Joey Prentice, 1-yard QB sneak. He actually got denied on the first QB sneak. He scored the second time. Marsico's point after was good. That made it 7-0, and that was the score that stood up as you see North Catholic players run jubilantly into the end zone, celebrating their appearance at the championship game in Heinz Field next week.
And what a complete game, really. I mean, like, yes, there were some errors, but, man, this game easily could have been, you know, a 28-0 game. They just couldn't quite put it away, but they just stayed persistent, won the field position battle, you know, really dug down deep. You know, we almost afraid that, like, mentally they could sometimes stumble in these games, but, man, when their backs were against the wall, they reached down and found something to make it happen. You know, big play, you know, shooting the gap, and, you know, just it'll be a good day on school on Monday, Sean. A lot of smiling faces, and I'm excited for Heinz Field. I love going to Steeler games, love going to Pitt games. It's my first ever high school football game there, and I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool next week for all North Catholic fans who make it down to Heinz Field. My play of the game, and maybe player of the game, is going to be Mitch Lanthaler. Maybe a game-saving interception that he returned all the way down the field when it looked like Avonworth had a lot of momentum. North Catholic had spent 2 timeouts just to, like, how can we stop Avonworth on that drive? So Mitch Lanthaler, great game from him. As well for the whole North Catholic defense. So that's really going to end all of our football broadcasts for 2021. Darren and I are not going to be covering the Wpil4a championship game, but NCSN coverage of winter sports continues with hockey this week on Tuesday evening, and basketball coverage from Barth and Graham Court begins in December. Darren, it's been wonderful working with you.
It's been a pleasure, Sean.
All season, and it's great that we've got students in the fold this year in terms of Alex Brown and Ryan Barry, and of course thanks to John Hoffman for running everything. He does a great job, and I guess for everybody here at the NCSN NC Sports Network, this is Sean Malone signing off. Have a great weekend, everybody.
This game and the stream broadcast rights to this game are the sole and exclusive property of the WPIAL. Any broadcast of this game is intended exclusively for the benefit of the North Catholic Sports Network audience. Any use, rebroadcast, or distribution of this broadcast without the express written consent of the WPIAL is prohibited.